And let's go live. Let's hope this goes live. We're going to find out.
线的英雄，所以可能这个点会是他们今天争夺的点。
包括像沙皇现在其实总体上已经做的比较的多了啊。我们看到香哥在这里依然有。
What's up, Grathak? What's up, Akaralik? This is also going to be a little bit fun for me, because it also means that I'm going to go back to an older style of casting. When I say tonal shift, I think it's actually going to be more professional. That's probably the most likely case here. I'm going to start saying hello to the boys in a second. So if I am a little bit more disconnected from chat today, it would be appreciated for the few that stick around. Please do spread that word on my behalf. I think that Discord is going to be quite distracting. I have stats, I have prep, and yeah, we'll see what's up. Good morning. All right, I have Undeafened on Discord, so we're going to be waiting for the folks to jump in. Let me put a pinned message in here as well.
Hey, don't you worry about it. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going? We've just unmuted on our end. I'm going to turn a camera on OBS as well. Hello, Trevor. Good to see you. This is a surprise, isn't it?
This is a bit weird. This is a bit surreal and quite exciting. Well, thank you for welcoming the Boomer and the Boomer chat. We actually call ourselves the Unk chat over on my stream because it's mostly old men living through nostalgia. Old people. I don't want to disparage everyone else. Old people living nostalgia.
Welcome to the future, old man. That's the plan. I mean, to be honest, mate, you're in for a really wild ride. You've joined the LPL at a very exciting time because obviously,
well, listen,
playoffs is ever a great time.
I want to give you guys my credentials quickly, right? Because I do have some opinions. I do have some strong ones, and it might be interesting for me to measure them against the actual experts. But I had the pleasure of doing most of the EWC qualifiers for China, the Chinese region, going into the Esports World Cup, which also means I got to see BLG's epic crash out and Anyone's Legends epic rise to power. Because that bracket was pretty interesting. And then obviously I've caught all of the playoffs throughout the course here. So regular season I'm missing, but I'm very much enjoying the playoffs run thus far. And I'm hoping we get better quality series today. I have been a little saddened, shall we say, by some decision making of the last few days.
Yeah. So if you're talking about quality and you're talking about the history of it as well, you don't get much better than BLG in the world right now. BLG are on the shortlist for best in the world, and I think that obviously with the online qualifiers, there were a lot of caveats there. By the way, I have just sent you an invite to stream together so we can start merging our chats and stuff, so I hope we can get that fixed out on the way. We'll try, folks. It's going to be a bit scuffed today. We're figuring out stuff for the first time. I'm getting some adrenaline.
Wait, so hang on. So hang on. So my Twitch, Nymeria added you. Stream together invites. I've just clicked the inbox portal. Let's try to get this connected right now because. Okay, that link definitely did not work. If I open one and I invite.
Okay, you open it and you invite me, and then we shall try and work things through then. Yeah.
So add to favorites. I'm adding you. Send invite. Yep. All right. Bear with us for a second. What we want to ideally do is try to get the watch together tool set up so our stream chats can interact with one another. The old people on my side can hang out with the young people on your side.
Okay, I don't see an invite right now, so do you want to send another invite and let's just see what happens with that?
I mean, this is what
I
I'm
got
saying.
the favorite thing.
Remove favorites. So I definitely have it on my side. You are live. Invite link. I've copied the invite link and I give it to you on Discord.
Okay, let's try that. That hopefully shall work. Let's join session. Drum roll. That's looking good.
Drum roll, please.
That looks good. Now you need to mute yourself. I mean, it actually doesn't matter because it's on our laptop. You actually don't have to mute yourself. Hopefully this is fine. Hopefully we get a shared chat from this.
I think you've got to start the shared chat once you're there. If you see what I mean.
Okay, so I'm down. I've clicked start sharing chat. That is weird. Shared chat.
There we go. We are online. Battle station online. Battle station operational.
Let's go.
You find this stream will be fully operational by the time your casting friends arrive.
Well, okay. So
we managed 10 minutes before the Star Wars references.
Are we going? Proper try hard now and like tricast mode?
I think we do. We've just got players on stream for the interviews. Normally I let them play, but you know what? I think it's just better for us to just start getting into it now. Let me change. Let me just make sure this audio is fine. That should be okay. Okay, let's get locked in. So, folks, all right, let's get to it. Welcome everyone to a very special day of League of Legends here. Not just because it is BLG versus anyone's legend, two LPL champions within the last year, with a bunch of history between them over the last 2 years. We're also joined with a bit of history in the broadcast side of it too. And I mean that both in the physical and the legendary sense as well. We're joined by Trevor Quickshot Henry to hopefully bring you a unique experience of LPL. We've been hanging out as friends for a long time. We barely get to cast with each other though. Trevor, welcome to LPL. We hope it's a wonderful series for you today.
Listen, the pleasure is mine, boys. It's been really nice. Actually, since I have departed the right offices, I've spent more time with the Hapgoods than when we were working like side by side, and it's awesome. We have lovely dinner dates. It is a ADHD filled table.
True.
The three of us plus my wife gets real loud. So it's really good. I mentioned it earlier, of course, but there's a couple extra people that have jumped in. The fact that I have been able to watch a lot more of the Chinese teams competing and playing recently is great. I will be honest, I was hoping for Team WE and BLG to be the two teams that made it to MSI because I wanted the Monkey storyline. I want to see Bin lose to Broken Blade. I want that to happen in reality. I'm aware. Listen, I know what I'm asking for. I know how delusional it is. So I am coming into this with high expectations, high hopes for BLG, but Anyone's Legend did top the EWC qualifiers. I thought AL have looked pretty good at the lower bracket games, but I want to see a competitive series. I think we've had a couple of like one-sided matches over the last few days.
Yeah, part of that has been that the teams that have been in the lower bracket have been there for a reason, with probably the big exception being BLG. Is like, how on earth did this team end up down there? This is probably where we're getting towards those teams that are getting a bit more evenly matched again. I think JDG obviously had a bit of a crash out in general. They just did not look good. That will be a conversation, I think, for another day and some serious post-mortems, because there is no way that JDG should have been quite so anemic. This is supposed to be a very good matchup. That said, it is still Billy Gaming, the reigning international champions, probably the best team in the world. One bad series does not undo a wealth of genuine talent and terrifying power, not just in lane, but in terms of their champion pools and everything else going on. And AL got a long way to go to climb to that level.
And look, we're about to get onto stage, folks. There'll be some adverts. We'll get onto the stage and we'll welcome the players on there too. And what I'm really interested to hear from Trevor as we go through the early game and the parts of this too is, Sam and I have been here for a long time now. Time flies by very quickly, but, we've been sat here for literally thousands of LPL games. I've seen Knight, become this international superstar alongside many other players in this series. What I'm really interested in is actually how does that translate to someone that's a little bit newer to LPL domestic, someone that's maybe heard these names from internationally, because every single one of these players on the Rift is an LPL champion. Every single one of these players has had good results internationally.
I mean, listen, the biggest thing for me is if you don't know the names, it means you're actually not paying attention to international tournaments.
Yes, Trevor.
Right? Okay, first of all. Secondly, the thing that's been really fun for me is that, frankly, the stereotype of LPL craziness, aggressive play, it is still true. But I think the word that I want to use is like tempered aggression, right? I think when you still watch through some of these games, like On's Bard, first of all, it's amazing. We know that already. But a couple days ago, I think he hit Gala with every single tempered fates without even fucking trying. Like, he made it look so effortless, and it's like the impact that he had. So I look at this roster and I'm like, okay, Kale, what are you going to do? How are you and Tarzan going to work together to try to shut down Shun, who also has looked amazing throughout the lower brackets? So the big thing for me is just like the way that these players individually play does not change domestically and internationally. They just kick the shit out of each other. The difference for me is it's really nice seeing Ben going up against people who can kind of handle him somewhat. It's really nice seeing Shun needing to run through Junja. It's really nice seeing Tarzan like working, because, sometimes when you see Tarzan against, let's say, other regions junglers, the disparity seems a little bigger, right?
Yeah. And I think particularly now you're in the LPL, the thing about that is that Tarzan is perhaps the best jungler in the world on his day. The LPL is a region of junglers. When you talk about the LPL aggression, I think a lot of that stems right now from the fact that they are so aware when a jungler gets ahead, it doesn't matter how good the opposing number is, whether it's Tarzan, whether it's Shun, whether it's Junja, no one is safe from LPL aggression in China right now.
Yeah.
It's utterly insane. I think we're about to get ourselves onto the stage very shortly,
Let's
so let's get
go.
ourselves locked in and ready for the players to come out.
These aura farming moments, Trev, are really, really special. The teams have all prepped them. Sometimes it's come back to bite them in the bum. BLG in their upper bracket showdown with WE had Knight sat on a Bonjwa throne before they got taken out by WE.
I love it.
Sometimes
By the way,
those moments of arrogance bite you, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, but also not only that, and sometimes you forget to high five your fans. You know, sometimes you make very expensive mistakes.
Find them. and we won't get too much into that, but again, guys, that is an obligation. You don't want to do that.
Yes.
Maybe check what's in your contract.
I explained this on my stream as well. Like, the people who pay for those tickets, that go to the stadiums, that attend these live events, there is an expectation that if you've got that front row seat, you have the ability to do so. I was unaware of that information when I read the news about the fine. So, frankly, I'm on the side of, yes, I understand. I think the fine seems excessive, personally. I don't know what salaries are. But I mean, hey, if it is part of the ticket selling, if it is part of the event, like, that's how you get people to come to Shenzhen, to come to Beijing, to come to, you know, wherever the stadiums are going to be. But we're live. Players are walking on stage.
Welcome to a very special day here in the LPL. Two recent rivals finding themselves on death's door. Neither team thought they'd be here, but while they are, they may as well fight for their lives. BLG first out onto the stage.
Every single one of these players has at some point been contesting for the very best in the world in their position. For some of them, just the best in the world, period. And one way or another, they're going home today or going on to face WE with some vengeance.
Yeah, they're led out by team captain Knight. The jewel on his chest is the captain's jewel. Each team has one. And when a team is eliminated, that little star is put onto the trophy for the eventual champion to lift. One more will be interred onto that silver cup today. BLG walking through, and you'll notice that
If you're listening on my stream, please let me know if audio levels need to be adjusted. I am looking at chat.
Do not fumble the very basics before you get on stage. Everyone's doing it. A little nod there at On, who had a fantastic series against JDG. Really put Gala in his place there on the bar. I know Trevor was mentioning that one earlier. And of course, the thing is, it's not going to be just them. They're going up against anyone's legend, a team that is largely unchanged from last year, who did so well with this roster. And then, well, they didn't keep the coaching staff, did they? They didn't keep Tabe. In fact, they picked up BLG's former coach.
But one thing you have to throw out there, right? Anyone's legend in the EWC qualifiers 2-0'd Top Esports, 2-0'd Weibo Gaming, 3-1'd JDG. This is less than 3 weeks ago. So AL have pretty much, in my opinion, run the bracket already. You cannot discount that.
they need to do it on stage now. They need to do it in the lower bracket against an angry BLG. Shanks will lead out the Pandas onto the stage here in Shenzhen, NIP's home arena. Of course, they didn't even make playoffs. It has felt, you know, from my history in the LPL, this playoffs has been the most cutthroat I think I've ever seen. We've seen top teams failed very early into the bracket and sent to go the long way to the finals. Both of these teams have found themselves in lower brackets at the hands of Team WE. They will have a rematch if they win. It's going to be a tough fight today, though, to secure that, as anyone's legend face up against what could be, despite them being in the lower bracket, perhaps the best team in the world.
Again, anyone's legend are no slouches, but we need to see some players make sure they are turning up in the early stages. You are not allowed to have a poor early game against BLG. You give them that free early game and the game just runs away from you. AL, for all their impressive power in the skirmishes, for all of their impressive power in the team fights, especially if you can get Tarzan and Kyle unlocked on the map, they do exceptional things, right,
One
Trevor?
big thing though, Billy during playoffs, that average goal differential during the 15 minutes has dropped to only plus 500. It was closer to 900 during the regular season. Now, admittedly, they are down in that lower bracket, but I just want to highlight, at least statistically, we are seeing a slight, I'm going to use the word fall off. That's not fair at all, right? I understand that.
Lower
That's not fair at all.
bracket, so you know what?
Especially
You can
because
say that.
because of what Bin has been doing, like pretty much solo in the top lane, is incredible. But I'm fascinated to see what the bans are going to be in game one. There are so many high priority bans. You don't want Tarzan to get Neferi. You don't want Knight on anything, to be fair. But
Azir, you can type up Azir. Yeah.
Right? So like, what I find interesting is like, okay, what is the game one strategy? What are the game one bans? And then seeing how that evolves, because that I think has been the picks and ban strategies that has impacted draft results quite a lot this weekend.
Yeah, I think that particularly now we're in a fearless draft era, and the way that the Riot Balance team has responded to that is they've kept a lot of champions very strong. I think in any other year, we wouldn't see Varus remain strong for as long. Orianna, Ryze, these champions which have kind of ruled the meta for the last year and a half, I want to say. Maybe even more than that. Some of these champions, Rumble, for instance, has been around since 2023 and hasn't left. All of these champions have to be considered in game one, and Trevor, I really like that you bring that up, because game one for me is an arms race. You have to let through something powerful, so you must let through enough things which are powerful for you to gain a benefit from that. It's very hard to choose which prediction that goes through. Both of these teams are big Ezreal Karma pickers. We're into that draft now, though, so let's get started on that.
And I think those first three bans on both teams will be very indicative of what we are looking at. Largely for me, there's a lot of lanes you could look at, but I suspect Tarzan and Shun will be very, very high priority here in this first game. Who gets a good setup for that early jungle matchup?
I take a look very quickly, by the way. First selection was in favor of Billy, so they elected to go red side. Anyone's legend. Also then took second pick, as far as I can see. I couldn't see what the first ban was, but I'm not surprised at all to see Tarzan's Neferi removed. He's the only Neferi I like seeing, for the record. I fucking hate watching European Neferis. They're terrible, but Tarzan's the only one I love.
Yeah, and I think, look, LPL is the region of junglers, and that's why we see stuff like the Jarvan and the Neferi banned away. Nocturne is available and is the most powerful jungler within the LPL, specifically at fighting for early camps. Karma is also up and available, as is Ryze. This is what we're talking about, the arms race. Who is getting the priority pick here from BLG? Will it be Shun with the Nocturne, or someone in bot lane, like on with... It's going to be no one.
No one.
It's going to be no one.
Okay, there we go. Just build the tension. Just build the tension. That's what we're going to keep doing. By the way, do you guys do predictions on who you think is going to come out? Because you've been hyping out BLG the whole time. Like, as far as I can hear, you don't even have that much hope in anyone's legend.
The way that anyone's legend lost to WE felt a lot more of a large problem there, and also we have the regular season to go off of here too. Anyone's legend are going to have a huge task. Can they win? Yes, they can do, but it requires BLG to have a bad day and anyone's legend to have an exceptionally good one. I think anyone's legend have a weaker bot lane and top lane and mid lane in terms of laning phase dominance. Having losing lanes versus BLG is a surefire way to get your head kicked in the early game. So what I need to see from anyone's legend for me to have a prediction for them, which as I'm saying, I do not here, it's pretty obvious in the way that I'm talking about them, they need to have very good drafts, they need to have very good level 1 plans, and they need to make sure that BLG doesn't comfortably sit in lane and just outmuscle them.
With that in mind, it is worth noting a couple things there. AL do have a lot of creativity in their players. Flandre has always been something of a dark magician in that top lane, pulling out the weird and wonderful.
Do you trust in the heart of the cards?
Well, he might do. I don't know whether he's got the 3 blue-white dragon kill combo, because on the other side, that's basically what BLG run. They are the Kyber, right? But, Flandre has been pulling out things like the Rek'Sai and the Varus and the Vayne and the TF and all these things that are kind of more in that slightly more unusual off-meta era of top lane picks. He's very much in a good position there, even if his standard laning phase isn't so great. That creativity is powerful.
I mean, that's my problem.
They do have is a very strong jungle support role, right? If Tarzan and Kyle are unlocked, it feels good.
Yeah, but they're going to be, because I think when you look at how these lanes are going to play out, I'm just concerned. How do you stand toe-to-toe with Bin? He plays aggressive, in your face, has got command of, it feels like, every matchup, and then Knight does the same. Knight is maybe the best trading laner like in the world, like he contests everything. So I think that's going to be, the only thing is then I do think that's where Tarzan can look for those opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the champion he gets, I think if Bin and Knight are playing hyper, if they are playing forward, there should be some openings for Tarzan to take advantage of.
Yeah. Now, that has been something which teams have tried against BLG. The problem is, if you swing at those lanes and you miss, then you've doubled down on your loss. One of the things which I like to say about jungle is the most valuable resource a jungle has is time. And if you waste time on one of these solo lanes as they overpush and you don't get the result, well, then you're up ship creek without the paddle. At that point, you've used your agency. What do you do at that point?
So a great example of this. I'm assuming you watched the top esports WE series, that game 1 where Tien gets that counter gank in mid, and then basically gets every scuttle crab and every raptor camp from Monkey purely off that 10-second timer advantage he gets on the map. That's the kind of thing that happens on a regular basis in the LPL. We are back to draft here. The double jungle bans from BLG. The Jarvan is very, very potent, very, very flexible in terms of solo passing alongside that Neferi.
This is the same as what we saw. There wasn't a mistaken ban here, I don't believe. So we will have Karma, Nocturne, Rise, all available. Those are the picks which are on my mind right now. And Ashe Seraphine, I didn't think this was first pick worthy, to be honest, but they do lock that in.
I mean, do you deny the Ashe Seraphine? Because we saw that yesterday, last game of the series. Up until yesterday, Seraphine had been banned so many times, so you have to assume just prevent the duo because you don't get the 2 picks.
Well, sometimes we've seen Lucian Milio go toe-to-toe with it here in the LPL because you can cleanse off a lot of the CC and you can fight them quite easily at points anyway, but they do choose to remove that, which means that now Viper's thinking more about stuff like Jhin, stuff like maybe the Misfortune. The Cassiopeia locked in for Shanks as well as a big champion for him. When he was the mid laner for Team WE, he was a huge player of this champion. It counters stuff like the Rise quite effectively in lane, so Knight will have to have a think about what he plays into this champion. Very few things have worked against the Cassiopeia as an individual laner.
We've been chatting a little bit about what you pair with Seraphine if the Ashe goes, and I posited a Caitlyn. Alex wasn't so sold, thinking it's not the best combo, but they're going to go for it here today. They're also going to take away Flandra's Sion. Flandra is one of the best, if not the best, team-fighting top laner in the league. He is not the strongest laner, but his Sion is always a threat. Bin's also been spamming the Sion. I think that's a pretty solid pickup for BLG.
Most played champion this year, by the way. 6 games played, 5 wins under his belt throughout the course of the year. And all time, with all 1,100 games considered, still the 3rd most played champion, right? Professionally. So I'm with you on that completely.
So the Shen comes in now too. So we have a tank versus tank matchup. This is good for anyone's legend. They don't want a volatile top lane matchup, and also Flandra Shen it takes on from the Broken Blade build. I think Broken Blade has infected the rest of the world. This is the zombie Shen build, where you go for the Titanic Hydra into the Dusk and Dawn. You apply on-hit effects twice, which means you get a double Titanic Hydra proc on someone, and they get exploded.
I'm also going to put this out there. Junglers have decided they don't want the early power pick, they want the later counter pick, I think, at this point as well. They're going to see, I would expect, a few more focuses here on jungle from BLG, because I think they'll have a bit of a look in here, and I think mid lane from AL to try and get rid of some of Knight's options into the Cassiopeia. Cassio's had a bad showing in terms of win rate in playoffs, but I still think she's a very potent champion.
Yeah, so the LPL Chinese broadcast a day or two ago basically did a graphic, Trevor, which was talking about like trap picks which just don't win, even though they look strong. So the Ambassador had lost almost all of her games. The Cassiopeia was something like 0-9, and I believe the other one was Yunara, which had lost a lot of games up until
Listen,
yesterday
I struggled to figure out what those champions were. I didn't know it was Cassio, so I'm really stoked you told me that one, because the artwork blew me away, and my chat was trying to figure that one out. What was the tip? They called it trap cards, right? Or trap picks, I think it was.
Trap picks. It's like you pick this and you have trapped yourself. Yes.
I mean, look, you talked about junglers
today, so that works too.
Xin Zhao still open. Wukong still open. Vi was actually just banned away, so there's a lot.
Yeah, and we still have the Nocturne up too, which I would have thought would have been picked up earlier. In LPL, pretty much the entirety of this split, Nocturne has been on the ban list because... Now, as we've been talking about this, right, in terms of LPL being the region of junglers, but what does that mean? It means fighting over camps if you have a good matchup, and especially if you have pushing lanes. Nocturne is not great at chasing you until he has his ultimate, but if he's on a camp, no one out DPSs him. Trundle is the only champion which really does that, and BLG do ban that away. The Nocturne, for me, is very powerful from anyone's legend, because they can put the Shen on his back and submarine him into the backline, but of course BLG might just use it for the jungle matchup.
Yeah, and again, I like the Trundle ban in general, because you've got a Scion. As ever, Trundle's value will skyrocket the moment you have a tank to steal stats from alongside everything else. Debating currently a Pantheon which will give you double global, and while Pantheon has kind of fallen away a little bit from being the first pick kind of priority, still a very potent jungler, especially for someone like Tarzan who loves to get active, and giving him more agency is always a potent option.
By the way, one thing...
jungle matchup, go.
just very quickly, 4 bans targeting Tarzan, 3 bans targeting Knight. I asked about the strategy. You're thinking about it. It's pretty effing clear where anyone's legend are concerned, what BLG are concerned about, right? So just, yeah, hint and tip for that one.
Yeah, I like this Wukong pickup if they do lock it in, because now typically we talk about the jungle matchup. The Pantheon is not that strong an early fighter. This game I think is going to be a lot about like the meat grinder, where anyone's legend are throwing the Shen and the Pantheon into melee range. If they do that on top of a Cyclone, the game looks really quite bad. And in fact, actually, Anivia might get locked in just with that in mind too, because if you fly into the low range, you know, the Cassiopeia and the Ashe, yeah, they're likely to be outside of that, but the Shen and the Pantheon can get wrecked if they're just standing on top of a Scion who's got a Q charging the Wukong and then whatever Knight's pick is.
There's been a few different hovers here for Knight. I think any or all of them would work. The Knight Ahri, of course, is probably the best in the world.
Okay,
I'm going to shut up.
Okay,
Alex,
shut up. It's my time. It's my time. Shut up. It's my time. Okay, Knight is the best Ahri in the world. If you discount Faker's time in 2013 on the Champion 2, I think he's the best Ahri of all time. Only the early era of Faker really contests that alongside his other games since 2022. It is a rock-hard matchup into the Cassiopeia, though. Very, very difficult to play. If you miss skill shots, you die. And Shanks last year did prove himself a good enough player to go toe-to-toe with Knight. Knight will be safe on the Ahri. It will be hard for the Pantheon and the Shen to do much against him on this champion. I'm surprised to see it locked in over the Anivia. He locks in the Playmaker. He is trusting in his own ability on a great champion for him.
The one thing I just want to add on this, by the way, that I've noticed picks and ban trends-wise as I'm coming new to this, when you go look at all the champions that players have played throughout the course of the year, leading up to the most recent patches, Shanks, for example, has only got 2 games of Cassio this entire year, both of them losses. I have noticed that with the way that 26-8 onwards has played out, a lot of players are going back to champions that they haven't seen for a while, pulling it up. Like the breadth of the champion pool is going out, and that's the only one question I will throw out there. I know playing on stage is a little different to playing on scrims and playing on things. So Shanks, the pressure is on now. Put those boots on your little snake and sidestep the fox.
Effectively, yes. Part of that is it's playoffs. Best of fives. People have been prepping for this for a long, long time. And the other thing is, champions like Cassiopeia have been given some massive changes in the patch notes. Specifically because Death, Fire, Touch has become a rune option. And Cassio is probably the mid laner that abuses that rune the hardest. It is ridiculous.
Okay, so we go into game 1 now. We'll listen to the Gyos quick shot. We tend to keep quiet for the crowd to do their things. We'll have that in just a second. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us today. If you are listening to us, wherever you are listening to us on, think about following everyone in the call right now. It does help us keep doing what we're doing and keep covering the LPL, which is such a wonderful region. We love covering it here. We love hearing these storylines and seeing the gameplay come about. Very excited to see, you know, what Knight's Ahri can do. I think it's a difficult game into the lane. If Shanks can bully him out, perhaps Knight will get shut down in a way he so rarely is. Because we saw that already in the draft, right? Both teams banning each other's key player out as much as they can, trying to make sure that the star player for each side is not going to have a comfortable time.
New guys as well, just because, you know, you can. I hear there's this thing called a Prime subscription. Trevor, have you ever heard of a Twitch Prime? Because I don't think I've ever seen one. I'm very much a visual learner. And,
yeah, I have. Yeah, whose money is it? It's Jeff Bezos' money. It's not even your money.
Really?
Just spend his money.
He doesn't need any more of that, does it?
Exactly.
Oh, God. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. Looks like there's a little bit of a delay getting into the game itself. Typically would have done the little camera zoom in now as we go on to the Rift.
For everybody that's on my channel, of course, I'm joining their TriCast, right? We're going to have some fun with this. Thank you for sticking around. Let's have some fun.
Shen and a Pantheon trying to split up the map. Both of these teams play very aggressive, reactive style of League of Legends to you. If you show an opening on the map, they pounce very quickly. Both of these teams were coached by Tabe in the past, not here. Anyone's Legend now coached by Big Way. He used to coach BLG as well. There's a lot of shared lineage in style and philosophy of gameplay. I love watching teams who think about the game the same way.
My YouTube is asking me, why in LPL do we keep seeing Shen picked into Scion? Is this to counter the BB build? Like, what's your take on this?
So, Shen is actually one of the better tanks into Scion for a couple different reasons. But basically because Titanic Hydra is actually really, really annoying for Scion. Once you get that in the Dusk and Dawn, you're actually able to out-trade him quite hard. You also match his global quite well. And, of course, when you've got the Pantheon, that extra global makes a massive difference. But it's the build specifically is actually surprisingly obnoxious for Scion to deal with.
So particularly for Shen, for Flandre, for me, the goal for Flandre in any game is have the least volatile matchup you can, and it's tank versus tank. He's good at Shen. It's not a matchup where he's going to get solo killed. You better hope so anyway. I mean, Bin does that, then you have a problem. And then just Shen becomes a more useful champion in the global ways. If it's a straight 5v5, of course the Scion is the best in slot for tanks in many cases. But yeah, the reason we see a lot of Shen as the Scion is because even if the matchup doesn't go anywhere, you're happy with it.
And of course, when Flandre does go to the volatility, it's with like weird stuff. Like here's my Rek'Sai that I've got and you've just not played enough against. Here's the TF that I've been playing for years and you've only just recently picked up.
Yeah.
When he does go for something volatile, it's with kind of a matchup knowledge that he has just way more experience with than anyone else in the world. So he is a bit, when he does go for something a bit odd, that's where it tends to be. If it's a studied matchup, he much prefers those tank v tanks, Alex.
What's your take, by the way, on like players' mentality and mindset now coming into this? Like, is BLG the heavy favorites? We've got a tech issue. We have a delay on stage. Does this play into anybody's heads? Like, who will be more impacted by this?
In terms of pauses, I don't think either team's going to care that much. Actually, the last time that these two teams faced off, they did it at a roadshow at a like an electronics festival. I can't remember where that was. It was the last weekend of the regular split, and there were some tech issues on stage because you know how roadshows are.
Yeah.
When you go to a new location, new venue, things get a little bit messy. So there were a couple of delays there, and then BLG just ripped their heads off. They just ripped AL's heads off. It wasn't close. In fact, in the last time that these two teams faced off, it was the first time. Actually, this is a really important point to talk about in this draft too. So this is a great little bit of extra
nice,
context.
Alex.
Yeah, sometimes my brain when I lose track of
keep
things,
the ego down. That's
my subconscious will drag.
Okay.
So, let me get to the point. Son. Get to the point. Okay, so last point of the regular split, we saw BLG versus AL. It was the last game of regular season. BLG do not play towards Viper very often. He plays 1v1. He is the person who just stays safe and allows on to roam. That didn't happen versus AL the last time they played, and I don't think it's happening in this draft either. We talked about it not being a volatile top lane matchup because it's Shen versus Sion. Now, last regular season matchup, Viper was insane. He was the best player. He was the player of the match versus anyone's legend at that roadshow, playing things like the Jhin and the Lucian. He did an insane amount of damage. And now with the Caitlyn, with the Sion top lane, I feel like he's in a great position again for BLG to play towards him. Typically, BLG have had some rocky moments when they play towards bot lane instead of being in that top lane, but it looks like they're set up to do that here again.
Trev, with that in mind, I'd like to bring up an interview and I'm not sure it was an interview. It was a clip from behind the scenes of Danny speaking to BLG. Of course, Danny is the coach of BLG, and he was basically saying, look, guys, if our jungle and support are not on the same page, doing things together, we look bad and we know this. And also, guys, we can't all be heroes, especially if our jungle and support aren't flying. And he basically said, look, guys, this isn't on draft. You know it's not on draft. Don't try and take that tone and expectation, basically.
Don't you deflect from me, boy!
Basically, because actually, you can't all be heroes all the time, especially when we don't have that jungle support coverage. You're more than good enough players, basically, to know this. And when BLG, when it has gone wrong for them, and say jungle support been taken out of the game a little bit, there is a bit of a resource allocation issue on BLG when it does go
I'm
wrong.
not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that.
You know
because
what?
the thing is,
about to do a tangent because we're about to get into game. Game 1 starting now. Let's hear the gyros and then we'll start yapping again. AL BLG Game 1 elimination match. Loser is out.
Well, as expected, the crowd is pretty on fire today, Trev. They are here in numbers because, of course, this one matters. You lose, you're done, you win. You're still not quite done.
Clearly here, BLG got the louder cheers there, my friends. I think they are pulling more fans today in the stadium.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't hear because I don't have headset on for the PC sound.
Yeah.
I made an assumption and just tried to BS it.
Sam, as it happens, Sam, you're actually totally right. Now, locking into the game, we've actually got something interesting happening already. Whenever I load into an LPL game, I look at where the junglers are starting and where they're going. Pantheon is starting on bot side. Now, something we sometimes see is a 3-camp, a recall for a longsword, and then going out onto the map. I think Tarzan will be happy to just full clear from bot to top here, though, and make sure he gets himself that top side scuttle grab. On the other side, Shun is going top to bot. What that means is that the junglers aren't going to be interacting as much as if they were pathing the same way.
All right, Trev, I'm going to put this question out there for you. And this is one of those ones because, again, there's lots of lanes we could look at to say, yeah, this is the one that's going to matter because there's just so many insane players around here. And actually, we may have to hold on that because remember, Tarzan's gone for one of those potential level 3 angles on in here. It's got the red buff, level 3, and is getting behind the Caitlyn lane. That's been a tale as old as time, but has held off for a potential reset for that long sword. There was a little moment there. I got very nervous.
Funny thing which actually happened there. There was actually, I think the body language of Hope and Kyle gave that away. There was a missing ping on the bot lane saying, something's not right here. So they avoid the gank. Already, Trevor, you can see we have to lock in really heavily for the early game because these teams really want to fight.
No, they do. But, and of course, you anticipated a little bit more, I think, when we look at BLG historically. But I'm not too surprised when you look at the compositions because you do have some pushing lanes, but really everybody's going to be happy to look towards level 6. The thing that I mentioned during our pregame, the tempered aggression is something that I like seeing. And I think Anyone's Legend and BLG, from the qualifiers I've seen and the most recent playoff runs, they are very intelligent with how and where they play. The same cannot be said for every team that I've had the pleasure of watching recently, but I have more confidence in their decision-making and their skirmish timings, right?
Yeah, I love that you bring that up because this is a narrative which we on the LPL community side of things have been trying to fight against because I think, remember Unicorns of Love 2015 with the Chaos style League of Legends and like trying to fight against this kind of narrative, like not all chaotic League of Legends is bad League of Legends. Sometimes fighting a lot is the correct thing to do. If you take Cassiopeia Flash away in this game, she really doesn't like playing this game. Caitlyn, similar kind of thing when you have to play against someone like the Pantheon ulting at you. It's a term in the LPL we call cooldown economy, where you fight, it looks like you're fighting for nothing, you're actually fighting for important cooldowns on the other side. I think both of these teams try their hand at that when they can.
Yeah, because what will often happen is, particularly as the mid-game rolls around, you'll have like 3 minutes until the next dragon. 3 minutes until Herald. You will see teams full send of people like the AD carry, of people like the jungler to get key flashes, because then when it comes around to things like those big dragon fights, well, suddenly that poor Ashe, that poor Caitlyn aren't playing with those big summoners. Bit of a fight happening in that bot side, and Viper is going to be forced to cleanse here. The double root should be just about okay. He's out. Oh my god, that was close.
Oh my gosh, Blue, that cleanse. I see you're learning your Mandarin already, Quick Shot.
Try to.
Top lane matchup going fine for either side right now. And yeah, I suppose when we come through into these games, Quick Shot, obviously we've not had any kills so far. You've talked about these teams and what you've seen of them so far as well. What have you been, if you think about these players, who's been your favorite player to watch so far out of these teams on your screen?
It's not even a question. I came into the LPL as a massive Nafiri hater, okay? I want to contextualize this.
This is going.
I only exclusively watched LEC this year. I have a podcast with G2 that's LEC focused. You guys were on it.
Go watch that, by the way, chat.
Great.
And I am a... because I was a hater, when I saw Tarzan running Nafiri, he has absolutely stolen my heart, only because he's the only one that I give the Nafiri pass to, right? And we're seeing Nidalee's popping up, especially in top lane, a little bit more. I'm still on the fence about whether or not that pass is deserved. But listen, it's also just been, right? I mentioned it earlier. I came into this, I want BLG to make it to MSI. I want BLG to kind of, maybe not necessarily win the Golden Road, because I'd like to see more competition internationally, but the storyline is just great. And considering Ben's bounce back from last year and the fact that he just dumpstered, again, everybody at first stand, it's just Tarzan and Ben. Those are the only two that I'm in love with.
Okay, so I'm just going to check in again with the game here, because one of the things I mentioned from Champions League, mid lane matchup is hard. Knight is currently down about 10 CS. Now, the thing with Ahri lanes against mages is you want a play to happen as soon as possible, because if you're just locked in lane, you are a less useful champion. You get a good fight, you then start to snowball, and you can get away from this kind of matchup. He has gone for the Dark Seal early. As an Ahri main myself for many years, this is the best item in the game on Ahri. You want to be stacking towards the Magi's, and Knight is the most prolific builder for that item in the game. Dragon is going to be starting. It looks like AL are looking to
Proto Belt Ahri, that's definitely first item, right? We have to rush it. That's the correct. That's the correct one, right? Lila!
Oh, they're going to go for the play. On's likely dead here. Flashes over the wall. Can't quite get out as Flandre burns that early stand United and gets involved. BLG greed for the dragon. And AL were more than ready to respond, Alex.
It's the first ult from the Shen. Great global usage from him as BLG. I just think they disrespected AL looking to contest that. I think they sleptwalked into that a bit.
My biggest thing for this as well, the control, once again, is something that I really like. I talked about this a little bit. Anyone's Legend and the EWC qualifiers were able to fend off a lot of early strong laning phases, and they were able to keep their opponents at bay. If you combine Enchant and Crystal Arrow, plus the potential of either a Pantheon engage, and you have Stand United as the follow-up, anybody that wants to jump onto you, Miasma's got the counter options. I think Anyone's Legend have got a lot of tools in their belt to both initiate, to disengage, and with an early advantage already for Viper. Early advantage already.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Hang on. This is huge just in the replay here. Shun didn't get the level 6 off of this. If Viper doesn't steal the Scuttle Crab with his Q, I say steal, from his own jungler, they have a Cyclone to work with. That is disaster. That is actually the reason they end up losing that fight. Arrow lands onto Aramid.
I think should just be able to walk away here. Knight is just about on time with the Spirit Rush and gets out. But yes, Alex, I saw that in the moment, and I was like, hang on, did he just not have enough XP to get 6?
Okay.
You're right, actually. I thought that Scuttle Crab was level 6 Scuttle Crab. Viper stealing it is huge. We're back to live, though, on this moment. Obviously, that ult's just gone down from Knight, going for a bit of an invade. Tarzan on his Wolves, maybe contested at the Gromp, but I think that's going to turn over towards these Grubs instead.
Okay, now, you might have been able to tell us as you're listening in, folks. We're trying to just make sure we're putting things on a bit of rails here, make sure that we're all on the same page here on the cast as well. Quick shot. You feeling like you're up for a bit of play-by-play after this? We've been
let's give it a try. Let's give it a try, right? Me and Sam can bounce back and forth a little bit, but I'll take the next skirmish. I mean, considering it's been really like controlled thus far. Somebody in chat was mentioning like that Spirit Rush from Knight. I actually think that was to get away from the Crystal Arrow. The timing was amazing. If he had been facing forward into Shanks' Cassio, the CC could have been layered, obviously, with the Petrifying Gaze. So, still really good. Shanks maintains control of that lane, plus 10 CS. And immediately we've seen that first swap, right? Viper and On move to the top lane, has been swapped with Bin now meeting the duos.
And they're getting a ton of plates off for this too. So yeah, folks, it's been really special here today to draw back the curtain. Bringing Quickshot back out for like a bit more of a reunion for us as casters rather than just friends as well. Shun on the top side, maybe looking for a dive here. See if they have the guts to pull it off.
They've got 3 members. It'd be a little bold. Of course, the thing is, Flandre's shield doesn't necessarily work against all the CC. Here we go, Trevor. All yours.
Ooh, waiting for Shun to engage. Puts the crushing blow down. On is only level 5. Without the Encore, you're going to be relying on some additional CC. Flandre's going to watch the wave go down and just trade some damage back and forth with Shun. He's getting the experience at least, but was denied a significant amount of CS. And the fact that presence was shown top, Anyone's Legend is going to be able to use that time, pick up their first dragon 9.5 minutes.
Now, interesting stuff is happening here too, because the swap of the Caitlyn here is really hurting this turret. And the Scion is so good at wave clearing on the other side. AL are not going to be able to answer the turret. So BLG, who were actually eating a small gold deficit, have got themselves a gold lead because Bin has been farming better than Flandre. They've not been able to force Bin off of the farm. Anyone's Legend want to start playing around globals. It's much harder to do that. Hang on, the arrow's just flying mid here.
Here we go again.
Let's find out. Targets will just go wide. Sam, are you disappointed in that one? But I do like the observers.
I'm a little bit. I expected that one there. I'm not good. I was expecting with the observer follow, as they have a lot of fun with thinking. That's quite close to a couple people. And
you could have said that was a hopeful attempt.
Very good, very good, very good.
You know, a couple of years ago, I ran through all of my A New Hope references, and I feel like we can finally bring them back out again.
All right.
I think so too.
It's just like,
I haven't heard them.
It's just like
I haven't heard them.
bullseyeing a one part with his T16, you know.
Well, not this time because he didn't hit it this time around. The Womp got away.
He needed to turn off his targeting computer. Of course.
Yeah,
we see the progression.
That
we see the progression.
was good. That was really good.
You know, last
Out of
time
interest,
we met,
just quickly before we get to
master.
this, how many Durex jokes has your chat heard or made? What's the tone? Because I have
okay,
many.
Not nearly enough.
Okay, great. Just for the record, I have several, so I apologize to my chat because you probably heard them over the last 4 days.
In one of our very first casts together in 2022, you talked about Larsen's Corki hitting them with the big package in the face. So I feel like this is only continuing an older cast synergy.
After watching Tian's Lee Sin recently, I also went back and looked at his FPX Lee Sin games against G2, where one of my calls is Tian You Beauty. So I got to relive some of the legacies. There's a big range, right? We go from the Fuxy Tuxy and the hitting him with a package to, actually classy calls. Very different. But I do want to mention one thing, right? With the 9.5-minute first dragon, Seoul's going to be delayed, and both of these teams, I think, are very content to start setting up for our team fights. I think Vision's going to be huge here. Look at what Anyone's Legends has set up. With the Ash Arrow, I mentioned it, with the Pantheon, they've got more pick power, and I would like to see more defensive vision from BLG.
Yeah, because BLG, I think what they want to do now is play around side lanes if they can. We've actually noticed that the Ahri is back even in terms of the matchup with the Cassio. The Sion is ahead just through what happened with those turret pushes as well. If the game goes slowly enough and BLG just get to calmly side lane without getting jumped on too much with the Shen and the Pantheon, I don't think they're unhappy. Now, they have some concerns. I think the front-to-back 5v5s, as we've talked about with, of course, yourself talking about the Miasma and the Ash Arrow, lots of pick tools for anyone's legend. BLG, hang on, they're going to pull the ult into bot lane. Here comes the Shen as well.
Oh, Viper's got to get rolling to the other side. Trevor, how you feel about that one?
No, that's awesome. Tarzan jumps forward, gets the stun. The Ash Arrow goes wide. Take over, Sam.
I will keep rolling. I'm not gonna lie, that was habit. I was like, oh, he's
I know you're good. I was sitting on my hands. You're all good. With the delay, and also, I will say this
on camera. I actually slapped Sam and said, let him play-by-play.
We haven't had a double play-by-play tricast since 2014 World Championship in Korea. Joe Miller and D-Man were the last two to do it, with Joshua Jat Leesman in the grand finals. And this is the first time we've had a double play-by-play since then.
Oh man, Trev, that's going back over a decade now. That's
exactly.
A crazy.
We'll take it. I
What
tell you what,
series
though.
was it?
Listen, Samsung White versus, it might have been some.
The finals.
Was it? Yes, thank you.
If it was the finals, it would have been Royal Club.
Blue.
There you go.
Yeah,
It was Uzi in the second finals,
exactly. And the leather jacket, the captain's jacket, had to get handed over from Dade. I think that might have been the Dade
So
Awards.
that was in the
events.
semi-finals. Yeah, that
There
was
we go,
Samsung
yeah.
White versus
Blue.
Samsung Blue. So that
Exactly.
was one of the greatest
Yes.
stories of all time. Yeah.
Yes. So crazy. No, 2013 was T1. They won 2013. 2014 was Samsung White for sure.
Yes.
I was there. I tell you what,
Funnily
though.
enough, I actually have a TikTok short about that story. It's my most viewed video ever.
It's awesome.
2 million times.
Sam, you take over play-by-play for the next 10 minutes, friends. We'll keep tagging in and out. But I will draw this back again. The point that I literally was saying a second or two ago. Tarzan is the danger man. Tarzan received 4 target bans. Tarzan has got the kill and the assist for his team. And with the Starfall engage, and then the backup from Flandre, who we know his team fighting power is good, those two alone can peel for Shanks and Hope to close out these team fights. I actually start to get a little nervous here for BLG.
So the Mikhails just went down there. Dragon's up in 10 seconds. Anyone's Legend would love to get a second one. You've mentioned that the Soul is going to be delayed. If AL get a second Dragon, though, happy all the same. Do you have that side lane from Knight? It's actually clawed ahead in the matchup. Dragon getting started. Teleport coming from the Shen. Trap line being set up. Let's see if AL can keep this game rolling in their favor.
Still waiting on a couple big cooldowns. The Dragon's gone down already. Bin now a monster in this front line. Gets a UGC as a flash on Sion ult Cyclone. Every R button under the sun gets pressed. We might be going under the ground as Flandre is put 6 feet under. Knight over the wall. The Spirit Rush resets. Hope hit with a charm. He'll not be springing eternal because he's got a grey screen to look at for 30 seconds. BLG with a masterclass.
Knight gets 2 of the kills as well. BLG were patient. They were waiting for their moment. They get the Dragon, they get the kills. And Trevor, welcome to some LPL.
I take it back. That was the best time to do a caster curse I've ever heard. BLG should be worried. Nope. Instant ace. Get the Dragon. 3,000 gold lead. Trevor, sit down. You don't know what you're talking about.
And the best thing I love from this too is, look, I talked about Knight buying the Dark Seal earlier. If you're an Ari player in chat, don't worry, I'll be yapping about this until the cows come home, or at least the foxes on the other side of things. Knight gets himself the Dark Seal and he gets 7 Dark Seal stacks off of this play. The Encore is fantastic. On is one of our best playmaking supports here in the LPL, perhaps the best one, and you can see how much teamfight impact both him and the Scion has in the front line. The Scion is just incomparable to any other champion in the game. AL try and gun him down, they just don't have the DPS. It gives so much space to Knight to dance through the backline, and the teamfight goes in their favor.
And remember, if Knight had actually had the Proto Belt, he could have won that fight much earlier, okay? He would have been able to hop in. The Malignance is not the right option. I'm telling you, this is the right
point here,
direction.
Alex. Yeah, no, this is...
Well, anyway, the tower's gone down and there are some kills. Items are secondary, right?
You could literally hear the hair on the back of his neck standing up, trying to attack me.
They genuinely sat up straight, and there was like a little neck crick. You know that fake neck crick he does when he gets really stressed and there's like a bad play that's happened? I just saw that happen IRL next to me.
The thing is, I actually can see the item build. He is going Proto Belt second, and I close my eyes. I dream of Dark Seals instead. It'll be fine. I'll wake up and the dream will be
I think there's
over.
7 stacks. By the way, I think I see 7 stacks on the Dark Seal in the inventory.
Correct.
Once the replay comes down. By the way, also on the minimap, I will say the thing that I do like from Anyone's Legend, they do have the ability to pick, they do have the ability to jump. The damage threats being Knights, Ari, and Viper's Caitlyn, if one of them is picked off by a Tarzan Flandre combo, I think the team fights get a lot harder. Now, I still am going to acknowledge it's a 3,000 gold lead, but we saw the tower dive. It is still 1-1. It is still a significant lead for BLG, but Ari can't 1v5, like can't deal with Cassio unless you blow Cassio up. You know what I mean? Like if you don't hit the charm, if you don't land the CC.
I will agree with that one as well. I think there's some real truth to that, and there is a very real world where the Wukong and the Ari go jumping forwards and get hit with a petrifying gaze, and it's all a bad time. The thing is, at the very least, On has made the correct choice of going towards the Mikhails.
Hang on, Tarzan's running at Knight here. He can cancel the W with the charm, doesn't land it. Ult traded there. Tarzan got a bit aggressive. Knight blows the ultimate, but with the Malignance and the ultimate Hunter stacks, not that long a cooldown.
Yeah, that's a big one. Might now look for a bit of a mid lane play as the Herald's coming down, and Hope is going to have to back away from that turret, and quite wisely so. Otherwise, Bin would have definitely be considering a flash or an ultimate there. I think, Troy, to your point as well, there is another way that AL can come back in, and they are the team with a double global, right? And there's a very real world where you just have Pantheon and Shen play to a side lane. Maybe if you can return to Knight's lane or try and catch out Viper while the rest of the team from BLG aren't there. Just have more members in a space and use that global power.
I agree. I like that word. And like I saw something in chat saying that BLG's team fights, if you are going straight front to back, are more intricate. I really like that word, right? But if you look at the scoreboard, it's 1,000 gold lead for Bin in the top lane on Scion. Every single lane for BLG's in the lead. Literally, as soon as I start that, we get a JD Esports win probability graphic here. I'm guessing that's what that is, 68%.
Yep, it is, yeah. It's like some computer model analysis
Exactly, but it's like plus 400 for Shun, he's up 15 creeps. Plus 600 for Knight, even though they did even in farm. And then Viper's Caitlyn, 2 items completed already, IE and Collector, plus 1,000 gold. So you start to get concerned, and especially because Caitlyn can burn through Shen and Pantheon if given time, if Scion's peeling, if Wukong's peeling, and especially if On is landing those encores as he already has.
I really like how Bin's playing back in the side lane here. He does know that the Pantheon could be walking up towards him. We'll land the Q here. Dragon is up in 30 seconds. That is up and available. Swan onto the side. I don't think they kill him here. They just annoy him a bit.
Yeah, he's going to ult away just in case. Just forgets to run out. But that probably does leave BLG with a good shove through mid lane and very nice setup around this Dragon. Look how many wards they've got. It's an absolute forest of red wards. There's 1 or 2 wards just by that tri-brush in bot lane. There's one of those blue wards in the pit. But otherwise, it's very dark around there for AL. And I don't think it would take very much from BLG to clear that out. They're going to continue with the siege onto the mid tier 2. And that looks pretty easy to come across with. They got the 3 grubs and a Caitlyn. It's just going to go down. They stand there in the face of the Cassiopeia and take the tier 2 as Knight gets the tier 1 bot. The gold lead balloons another 1,000.
4,000 gold the lead. Anyone's Legend going to be very careful. They don't want to pull out too early because they can't concede vision and control around the Baron pit. And I think when we get to the Dragon fight, Sam, you take the Dragon fight. I want to play with Baron if you don't mind and have some fun with that one.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I see how it is. We're horse trading on the objectives now.
Oh,
This
yes.
is how we do trade deals here.
Look, Trevor's the guest. They get the pick of the litter.
Listen,
That's
I just
fine.
want
He can
dibs.
have that
I
one.
just want dibs, okay? I literally just
So
want,
you see
once we
what's
get to
happened here
Baron...
is you've just traded a dragon where nothing happened.
I
For
know.
a
He's
Baron
done very well
where the
here.
game will probably be
Listen,
decided.
I set this up. I looked at where the vision was. By the way, I'll say this again as well. I thought that what we were seeing from JDG vision-wise was actually pretty good during the playoffs. I think they had such great control of the river. This game, AL had, I think, very good river control in the bottom quadrant of the map before that massive team fight, and now they've extended that to the top quadrant, playing around the Baron. So I'm intrigued to see how this vision game will play out. And Tarzan's going to find the first little engage. Shun's going to decoy away to safety. The taunt flash will be evaded as Shun gets to safety. Shanks has come in with that petrifying gaze, and Bin steps forward. Not going to be able to delay or set up any further fights. The damage onto Viper was too great. Cleanse was used. Flash is available. And Anyone's Legend, they looked for the pick, but they did not find it.
Yeah, they're going to get the Scuttlecraft. They're actually going to start the Baron because Shun is very low HP here. The Wukong being low HP might just make them give that thought. They can take the big objective away from them.
Sam, Alex, they need protection. Anyone's Legend has to remember the protection. Tarzan went top lane? Tarzan went top lane? Listen, we've seen this already. The Shen ultimate onto Pantheon and arriving at the wrong time. Shen, you can't blow your load so early like that. You need to be able to land those engages.
Trevor, the best way to be protected is just to avoid the fight completely. I mean, we're League of Legends players. We know this very well, of course.
Okay, I will bring the PG rating down a little bit. That was a bit over the line even for me. But regardless, I think that's pressure. I hope we get a replay of that because the observers have been amazing at highlighting when the mistakes happened. That felt like that was a massive mistake.
I mean, looking at the pings, there was a lot of like danger pings. I think the team was like, "What are you doing, mate?" So I think they felt very similarly there. That wasn't great.
We did just watch. You know, we're talking about this high-level gameplay and the two historic teams. Tarzan just ulted backwards on a pat. He just ulted backwards on a panty. There's no way to sugarcoat that. He just ulted the wrong way.
Also, I'm going to put a word out there for the double play-by-plays in this call right now.
Which is yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So we've both now had... I had a dragon fight, and Trev had a baron fight, where very little happened in the grand scheme of things. No one has died, and I want to put in a formal complaint, Trev. What is going on here?
Listen, I think what is going on here is that Anyone's Legend entered one dragon fight, and now they have to sit on the back foot. They can't engage. They don't have the damage, and they're in such a bad position that they have to jump away from engages, right? No, but more seriously, I think you can feel the nerves. You know, the stakes of the game, elimination match, the winner faces Team WE next Saturday, and the winner of that series then gets to go to MSI and sit in the finals, right? Against top esports. But I kind of mentioned at the beginning, talking about maybe some of the nerves in Shenzhen in front of the thousands of fans. And Knight, with that proto belt, his life was saved by it. You just need to stop being a hater. It is the correct item choice.
Trevor, I've needed you for ages.
It's the correct
That's why you should build like a Banshee's Veil, and maybe a Kaenic Rookern. Let's get creative with it. Why not?
He was saved by the proto belt, but I think again we didn't get a replay of that Tarzan jump backwards. What could have been
reason,
if that kill had landed, if something had gone more AL's way, but they're just in such a massive hole now that they have to play defensive. So Sam, you and I can just get comfy. It'll be a while.
You can do, which means I get to yap a little bit more. Dragon up in a minute and a half. We haven't seen a big fight since that last Dragon, which AL lost. Tarzan with the passive fully stacked up. He's still relatively strong on the Pantheon, but there's a 2-item Wukong on the other side. Both these junglers are in great position to teamfight themselves outside of just the carries. To BLG doing a really good job, or at least did a really good job of fighting front to back the last time. The value of the Seraphine in these late game fights is so annoying because you can actually ping the Cassio and the Ashe in the back line at points. I do wonder whether Anyone's Legend give up this next Dragon with the way positioning though. There is a minute to it. I wouldn't want them to give it up. I think giving over Soul Point is a bad thing, but a little bit worried that Anyone's Legend are setting up late for the Dragon. A minute and they've not got any position on the bot side of the map. That could really come back to burn them.
If they were going to set up, it would be around about now. You can see Ons throwing down a ward in the back of the Baron pit just in case. Aggroing the Baron in case someone was around, waiting to clear out that ward. Not going to happen on that front. So if we were to see a contest, AL will be setting up Vision right about now, Trevor.
I think the big concern I have here, Rapid Fire Cannon sitting with Viper, completed that third. He's a 1,500 gold up on Caitlyn, right? Has had, relatively speaking, no threat whatsoever. BLG moved him out of lane first, has been shuffling him around to pick up the additional tower, the additional 2 towers over Anyone's Legend. Dragon's up in 5 seconds, but this is only the third. This is a Soul Point. So Dragon Soul's going to be still in several minutes away because we started it a little later. And you can notice on the minimap, Bin could line up, could transform and charge here into the top lane.
All right.
Or into the
You
top
two
river.
play-by-plays have now got to start making a decision because I'm seeing some very tense
on you.
vision skirmishes.
It's on you,
here.
Sam. You take this one. It's
I
all you,
was
buddy.
just about to give you the stick. This is
No. Let's just bounce back and forth. Let's just bounce back and
That's the
forth. You take this one, I'll take the next one.
Hell yeah, that works just fine for me. And as it stands, that little bit of tension resolves very, very kind of to limited avail right now. Tarzan still standing this bush, bit of a fanatic play on the other side of the world. We'll see whether Shun falls for it again. Nearly cost his life the last time he went to look into that bush, but BLG don't fall for the bait, and it all kind of fizzles out for now.
Yeah, I wonder whether the tension is lowering the action a little bit in game
Yeah.
one. BLG have sometimes been a bit of a slower game one team. Now, Baron is being started. Caitlyn's on the bot side of the map. The Sion can ult to join them. The Ari's within range. Of course, Shen has the global. He's got a bit of a tug of war here. BLG making sure that they're not committing too hard to the dragon. Baron is peeled off. Free dragon for BLG. AL do not contest. We did wonder about that. They'll give over the
I'm proud of
solo
AL.
point. BLG thread it later.
I'm proud of AL,
Yeah.
frankly. Like, look, that team fight went so bad for Anyone's Legend in the jungle. The fact that they conceded it, 5 kills were down. Flandre and Tarzan are delivered, but Flandre was able to get over the wall, and Shanks just poisons Fangs. Fangs picks up the kill. I think Baron is being set up next, Sam.
I completely agree, because again, they've lost the sole point, but they're going to TP in here and look to play the 4v5. You were chatty about the fact that Viper is giga strong right now. Has got that 1500 gold lead, taking him off the board, gives you license to start this up. There's a good charm onto Shanks, but it's not necessarily the major target as Tarzan gets a big old shield, and the Wild Growth, and the Stand United. Knight still managing to backtrack well for a second or two on left low, not taken down by that Titanic Hydra. Dusk and Dawn burst, and everyone else survives. AL tried to pounce, tried to turn, don't get what they're looking for.
This could just genuinely be a single pick onto Viper changing the game. Anyone's Legend don't have to face up against the Caitlyn. On's ult is down, Ari's ult is down.
Trevor, all you.
The Baron is the target. Shun is making his way from behind. Cyclone and Flash available. 6,000 hit points. Cyclone proc 1 used. Decoy outside. The team is split. Anyone's Legend focusing down Shun, and Shanks gets the kill. Twin Fang securing the second for him in as many minutes.
Ooh.
But now Bin goes Giga. Manages to pick up the kill onto Tarzan, but he hasn't got the damage dealers. It is all hope and Shanks all day. The Baron has been stopped, and Anyone's Legend are closing that gold gap.
But Viper threaded the needle onto Tarzan. Where was the body block? To Anyone's Legend lose a kill for no good reason. Now, BLG do stop the worst case scenario, which is the Baron going over and the gold really starting to go back in favor of Anyone's Legend instead. It was a pick onto Viper who was out of position on the bot side of the map. The globals were used well by Anyone's Legend. I can't help but feel, though, this should have been a game-winning moment for Anyone's Legend, and they don't get what they came for. Somehow Tarzan ends up dying. The Baron doesn't go down in their favor. Now, Shun has a good dive onto the backline. He ends up dying for it, but at least it draws their focus away from the Baron and DPSing it down and stops the objective actually going over, while Bin then takes things up on the front line. This is just unacceptable, though. Tarzan goes down because no one body blocks for him.
Yeah, Flandre and Shanks both could have done that. At least Shanks comes away looking like he's picked up a lot of gold. He's now ahead of Knight. He's 4-1. This Cassiopeia, for all that she's been a bit of a bogey pick in playoffs, is looking like she maybe has the teeth, or I suppose fangs, to really punish BLG.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to, by the way, judge BLG. I think they were greedy. I think Shun going for the Cyclone to pull Anyone's Legend out of the pit felt odd. You had Shun able, they could have lined up side by side. They could have comboed the AoE CC and tried to push LL away. Yes, it was a 4v5, don't get me wrong, but I don't like that play from Shun. He kind of almost donated the kill in some ways, right?
Hang on, Panther's coming in with the Shen. Here we go.
And there's the encore down. It's well timed. And this time, the petrifying gaze! Shanks from the flank. The snake waits in ambush. Bin on the other side needs to start running away. Sun cycloning to disengage for a second or two. Bin not looking all that healthy as the Twin Fangs keep firing. With Flandre on top of them as gets eaten alive. Does fall down. The Blasco not enough to save. Knight running away. And AL are out team fighting BLG.
They're playing the map better. That Cassio came out of nowhere, and Anyone's Legend this time they're gonna get the Baron.
I called it. I like Anyone's Legends compositions. I think BLG need to be too cautious in protecting their damage dealers. And Shanks, out of nowhere. What was that, a 3-man petrifying gaze?
It was completely out of vision. I think it was a 3-man. Yeah, I mean, Viper gets caught out again, and BLG... Look, when you're against a composition like this, with the double globals, you have to be so aware of where that punch is coming from so you can respond to it appropriately. They've not had the vision control. They've not been able to get into the enemy jungle, force things down. And Shanks has just built up a Medros on his 5-kill Cassiopeia. Started with the Pantheon Shen coming through. Encore does land. I'm just not sure it's that valuable, though. Great play from Shanks. Full globals used with the teleport. Well, no teleport actually used in there, but Shanks gets off the unseen angle. Great play from Anyone's Legend to get on top of the Caitlyn again.
It works out so well, and then basically Flandre's just keep running at the support. They try to blast cone out, but again, at this point, the Shen actually has a hell of a lot of burst and just keeps autoing away. They've now got Baron to try and finally get through this mid lane turret, and Trev, we've got a potential soul fight for BLG. We'll see whether they can contest it. Knowing BLG, they likely
I don't think they should. I don't think they should, though, right? Look at the vision. I love what the observers are doing. They've highlighted that BLG have to fight into the darkness. You can see now that Anyone's Legend's minions are now Baron flavored, and they're trying to unlock this middle tower, right? But that single control ward in the red buff, BLG, they do have an option.
Yeah, I think what BLG wants to do is just try and buy some time. He's teleporting for the role quest there. It's not just the, the Billy Boss TP. He's teleporting forwards for the shield. Now, BLG, if they can find a front to back, I think they're actually favored. Reminder, the gold is still in their favor. Yeah. They're trying to waste some time from the Baron buff here. They need to be careful about how they approach Fog of War, though.
Look at the Caitlyn traps. Where are they being set up? Dragon is alive, Sam. And that Baron's already down to 1.5 minutes. For BLG, this is for Cloud Soul. Now, volleys going out one after the other. The observers are showing Flandre looking for the taunt on the sideline. Shanks steps forwards. Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Pantheon jumps in. The Wukong ult is defensive. Bin gets turned into a Munchkin. And as Kale is continuing to push him forward, that's the kill on tonight. Now it's all on Viper. He's going to be able to dash away with a 90 caliber net. Flandre is dropped so low. Tarzan looking for the snake and will take him down before Bin is focused next. And it is Anyone's Legend taking all control.
Another monster team fight from Anyone's Legend, back-to-back Herculean wins that will erase the gold lead that BLG had. They can turn with the remains of the Baron to these tier 2s and looked at things like the inhibitors, denying the soul and potentially taking this game well out of reach of BLG.
It's been a wonderful set of team fights from Anyone's Legend. We were wondering whether Anyone's Legend could work in the 5v5. They absolutely can. They're low HP, but they'll be able to take the inhibitor at minimum. Dragon is still alive. BLG might be able to get a contest on that, actually, off of these resets from Anyone's Legend, but the base is broken and AL have such a big gold swing in their
Soul
favor
is still a target, though. Keep this in mind. I think if you do give an Ahri the ability to have Cloud Soul as well as mobility on BLG side with the Wukong sign, like, there are possibilities here.
Go back into this replay. No, the miasma from Shanks is huge in just a second, where you can see he gets the Petrifying Gaze, and then the miasma stops Knight, who had ulted into the Cassio, and then, of course, gets gunned down by the Ashe. Really good play from Shanks again. It's one of his most iconic champions, this Cassiopeia. He has a ton of kills on it. He's having an excellent game here on the Cassiopeia. We come back to live.
Back to live. I'm going to steal the mic this time around because Tarzan's going to find a shield vault forwards, looking for potential flank angle. Is the rest of BLG. That Encore's kind of nasty. Hang on. Ale haven't got the phalanx properly presented. It goes shut with the Cyclone. The Wild Growth denies. The Petrifying Gaze. The Snake gets defanged. Anti-Venom secured. Viper looking for some more ace in the holes. Keep looking for the damage as BLG aren't done yet in this game. It's only the one kill, but it's a key one. Knight looking for a little bit more. Does have the flash. Doesn't want to burn the Charmers yet. The fight might still continue. Vision control good for Ale, but this might still deny them soul.
Billy.
I mean, this is going to get them soul now. I think the Cassiopeia, huge part of the damage is down. Knight doesn't have his ultimate. It's a third on cooldown. Has the flash for the charm. Here comes the Shen Pantheon.
We go again. Viper 90 caliber. And when they've interrupted him, he's going, oh, Trevor, it's getting messy again.
This is crazy.
GA just about surviving Flandre. Look at the Nexus. Look at the Nexus. The minions are taking away the turrets. This is messy. Hope goes down. Viper's standing. Bin and Knight are here. They want soul, but someone needs to stop the turrets. This is complete chaos. God, I love the LPL.
Soul is secured. Soul is secured. But Soul secured for Billy. Knight is continuing to chase forward with all of the tools, including that proto belt. He shuts Nymeria down, but the Nexus still stands. Only one tower has fallen, and the game is blown wide open. Billy can still win this game.
I wonder whether AL made a mistake in going for that top lane inhibitor, folks. I wonder. They chose the inhibitor over denying the soul. I think they got greedy, guys. I think they got greedy, took the inhibitor over the dragon, and wow, yeah, what a wonderful proto belt from Knight. That was surely the difference maker.
And also, by the way, the bigger thing is, like, the fact that BLG were able to keep threatening AL in the river. AL didn't start the dragon. AL didn't push the bottom lane. AL didn't have side lanes pressuring with that Baron, so they missed 90 seconds of it. And then, yes, the only thing they got was top. But BLG, I don't want to say they mind-controlled AL, but they definitely influenced their decision-making.
Yep, and I think AL got greedy. They wanted to get everything. They wanted to take that fight where they were feeling so good, having just done the same at Baron, done the same at Dragon, turn up, get the inhibitor, turn back to Dragon and play it out all again, it'll be just fine. It doesn't work out. They lose Shanks, they lose the soul as a result, and what was looking like a great game state from AL has suddenly come right back more towards even again.
Okay, so Baron is respawning in 20 seconds. We have just so many items everywhere. Viper, the LDR, is doing a ton of damage. He actually outdamaged Hope in that last fight as well, fighting over the Scuttle Crab for Vision, although been punted away with the Roar the Slayer, which is actually quite unhelpful for his team, might I add there. Yeah. They can't secure that. Vision control for AL around the Baron.
This is going to be very scary for BLG because they really don't want to concede the Baron. If they do get backdoored, that's a problem, right? It's going to be so easy to just slide into that top lane here for anyone's Legend. They've got the vision control in the Northern Quadrant. And remember, the Grand Starfall from Pantheon, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They've got the options to set these plays up. And instead, it's going to be defensive. BLG started this one. The Caitlyn traps are set up. This is a straight front to back. Ben gets taunted in front of the trap line. BLG are pulled away from Baron. Baron has now been enlisted by anyone's Legend. Grand Starfall now starts to get channeled. Drops down. Lila! With the Stand United bringing him in. Ben continues to take Hope's arrows over and over and over. And Shanks is sitting on the Petrifying Gaze. They've pushed BLG away.
We have a ton of cooldowns being used there. A lot of ultimates, the big globals from anyone's Legend. BLG can teleport back in with the Scion, make him full HP. They're pushing out that top lane again. Baron has started. Where is the Scion? Is he going to come back in? Yes, he is. He's teleporting just into that Tri-Brush.
You've got to protect your Tentacle Monster. You have got to protect the Tentacle Monster. Flandre doesn't get the taunt on tonight. The Tentacle Monster's down to 50%. The traps are starting to time out. Hope's Crystal Arrow is 75% available on cooldown once again. This is Burger Flip, 50-50. Baron interrupts, the Smite is secured. It's picked up by anyone's Legend. They've got the buff, but at what cost? But at what cost? Shanks is going to start stepping away. Flash available to him. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is up in 1 second. Fired defensively, and Ben is going to transform, getting the flash out of Shanks. Petrifying Gaze is on cooldown. Decimating Smash slows them down, and Flandre might be able to solo Viper, but he doesn't. He gets caught by the trap, Sam.
It gets at least 2 back to BLG, but it's still Baron for anyone's Legend. Tarzan with their hero play. The problem is they have now got to play the man disadvantage here as the base is being looked at. Maybe this still comes back to bite them in the long run.
How much are they going to look for here? They're going to get the inhibitor minimum. There's 40 seconds on the Shen, which is a big part of their front line. Shanks has got to do the damage. He's got to do the wave clear.
They're going to look at these turrets now as Hope steps forward, trying to get on top of those that flash away from the Encore. Important that. Ben in the front line, but again, Shanks is here with all the DPS. At this point, BLG are going to be warded away from those Nexus turrets. There's a TP into the base. BLG being kept away from their own base. There's Baron and Shanks is looking for at least the inhibitor.
The back door.
Back at a minimum.
Baron and Power minutes. Now, can the rest of anyone's Legend slow them down? The inhibitors are going to be spawning. It is still 2 minutes on the clock, and anyone's Legend have already done more with this Baron than with the previous one. So good job to them.
Okay, so backdoor is averted. Knight gets the recall off. Ben ends up ulting towards the base. We can turn the temperature down just a little bit. There's 2 minutes now on Elder. The Baron power play from anyone's Legend is still negative. Now, of course, they still stole the Baron. That's still a good thing for them. It meant that it wasn't the end of the game. That was very, very close, though. You can see how decisive each of these teams are. Anyone's Legend, when they got their big fight, they went straight towards the inhibitor. BLG, they did the same when they got that fight, even though they didn't get the Baron. They went straight towards the mid lane as well. Both of these teams are going for the throat every time. It is a problem, though, when they miss. We're left in a very broken map state, and inhibitors down on either side.
And one thing just to note here, itemization-wise, Tarzan has come back now with the Guardian Angel. Flash is not available for Shanks and Hope that Cassio and Ashe are somewhat under threat. Knight, however, has his available. If you assume that with supers in like one or either lane, one more pick, one more fight determines this. We are going to set up for an Elder Dragon fight. And I think it is fair to say
that top wave.
Anyone's Legend have set a better preemptive vision for most of this game, and they were looking at the river once more. Sam, this Elder's all yours, my friend.
Thank you very much for that one, Trevor. I will take it with the due reverence. I was just noting there, sorry as I interrupted you briefly, that Shun was being donated a lot of gold. I think they're trying to get him to Death's Dance before this fight. They've not been able to do it. And the level 18, yeah.
Okay, 20 seconds on Elder now. Shun's off vision. He does have flash. This could be a flash cyclone angle. Bin's looking for something onto Tarzan. Watch Shun. That cyclone is off vision, spotted now.
Ace in the hole, use for a bit of a perk, and they're going to get the encore onto Tarzan, hit with a double beat drop. He gets wild growth and survived, but is down a couple key ultimates now on both sides.
Dragon still up in just about 10 seconds. BLG taking the inside track towards mid lane, actually. Hang on, Aeon, you need to get back to defend the base. This is looking dangerous here.
They really do get running. Hell, they've got a faker signature in the base from where that Ari's got that one down. One extra Aeon need to be here now. This gets spicy. Stand United on top of the... They're going for the Nexus. They've done it! They just run through mid!
BLG legitimately just walked through mid lane and end the game. I cannot believe... I do not believe it!
Oh, sorry. Was D-Man with this cast again?
We got some Brits in here. We got some double play-by-plays. Felt only right. Well, that is not the way I thought that game was going to end, folks. What a wonderful way to end out that one. And, of course, wonderful to be joined, for those of you in chat as well, by Trevor Quickshot Henry as well. That was great. I really enjoyed that, folks.
Listen, obviously, if you are following, I know Alex and Sam have been really gracious to me to allow me to join the stream. Drop a follow, like, comment, please share the word. Let us know what we're having some fun. That was awesome. And I will say, that is kind of what I was like alluding to from the games that I have seen. The laning phase was super respectful. We got to 2 or 3 dragons with like, it was just map plays. It was tower pressure. One team fight goes BLG's way. It puts us on a 20-minute timer. But AL, they found their picks. They used their comp well. And either team could have won the game. And it felt like if you pick a different timestamp, you could say which team was in the lead and who was favored to win at those minutes.
And I'll shout out to Nami Sali in chat, who's a really big LPL enjoyer. It's actually been around on some of the LEC roadshows as well, giving out a load of LPL merch to fans of the LPL, which is really cool to see. But they're also one of those people who's really locked into all the interviews and gets all the translations. And got a really good quote from Knight saying, hey, Knight was saying that they reckon that AL were going to be scarier than JDG because AL are just better team fighters. And it kind of showed here today. I actually think AL, considering they were in some pretty scary spots, had a couple back-to-back team fights that were terrifyingly close to getting BLG out in this game one. That Dragon play, that Baron play, that was winnable, Trevor.
I agree entirely. And I actually think anyone's Legend can put up a good fight today. I think when you see the comp, I also think there was potentially a couple more options with like the Pantheon Ashe that could have come in. Nymera, I think you said so beautifully, like first game, stadium, elimination nerves, like it felt like they were a little more hesitant than sometimes I'm expecting.
This is just a tangent. I genuinely think BLG won that game because of Cloud Soul, because they could walk down mid so fast. I know it sounds so pedantic or small. The reason they won that game is because they got the inside track on mid lane and walked at the Nexus really quickly. Legitimately, that's why they won that game. This is one of those games where that might get swept up in the craziness of it. I thought AL were a little bit late to start on the Elder, but they did get there, and then BLG had to do something. I actually think that's a Cloud Soul diff. That's crazy.
And also, don't forget, that Proto Belt helped Knight get down that lane quicker as well. Okay?
I'm so glad we only get the one game.
Do you know what I love?
Fearless now,
I legitimately... I love you guys so much, and I particularly like this fucking harassment of Nymera's
Oh yeah, Sam loves that too. Don't you worry.
I'm gonna clip out that Knight Proto Belt to get away from host Ashe as like undisputed evidence that it worked.
The thing is, when I have some power over the channel, right? I can get in, I can mess with stuff. There may be a little bit of an addition where I just start doing all the subscriber thing. They're just the rocket belt away.
Next time we log in, there's going to be like, a new emote's been added to the channel. It's just like Nymera Proto Belt.
I will say this, what I'm happy about. I'm happy to see Shanks' Cassio and what he did this game. I think he was really not necessarily in a lot of threat. Like the game kind of played around him. Sometimes I think he had great impact is what I want to say. And I think that's a good sign for anyone's Legend against Knight. But Tarzan also received 4 target bans.
I
still think he had a relatively good game.
Look at the gold graph that's
Yeah.
on screen. What is that? That is Alton Towers. That is like Universal Studios. That is
No,
some
hang on.
G-forces
It's
on the
too
roller
British.
coaster.
It's too British. Alton Towers, people don't know what that is. You've gone from the Mariana Trench to
Yeah,
Everest.
but you know what it is, so of course someone's right.
I like that.
Oh gosh. Well, folks, this has been game one. Obviously, we're trying something a little bit new. We really wanted to bring Trevor on because Trevor's got the co-stream rest of the LPL, and it's nice to kind of form a little bit of community connections. You know, it's not just co-streamers doing things alone; it's doing something together as well. It's been really cool to be doing this. How are we feeling, folks, about casting for the rest of the series? Obviously, a bit messy in there. How are we feeling about things?
I
I'm
had
feeling
fun.
pretty happy with the. Yeah, I did too. I mean, again, there was that one in the river. I was like, "Whoops, I stole it." And Alex, like, "What you doing?" It's like, "Oh yeah, sorry."
you
But
golden.
old
Listen,
habits die hard.
I think what was quite nice is like I think we just communicated directly and we'll trade those objectives. We ended up having a kind of a nice balanced game, I should say, in terms of being able to trade for the play-by-plays. Let's do another game if you guys are down for it and see how it goes.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But I also think I'm just really stoked that I get to see the styles of anyone's legend and the star players in the very opening game step up. Tarzan's the danger man. I think BLG are the favorite team here. I think BLG have much more going for them to actually win the series. But really good to see the draft and the approaching game one. Can anyone's legend do it again?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much faith I have in them as we go deeper into a series. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the deeper it goes into the series, does start testing champion pools very hard in Fearless, and BLG, on the whole, across every role, I trust them more across champion picks, but AL, they are LPL champions. They've won a split in Fearless as well last year. This was a game which was quite low action. Top lane was very low volatility. Mid lane was a good matchup for Shanks. I think a lot of things went well for anyone's legend in this game, and they still lost. That's my worry for them. I actually think this is one of the high roll scenarios for anyone's legend, and they still couldn't close it out. That's my worry.
No, that's not what I want to hear, Namira. I want to hear that we're going to go 5-game series.
I'm always, okay. Oh, for God's sake.
Come on,
This is the difference between your King's Legacies, Dynasties in the LEC and the raw, cold, hard facts of the bloody LPL. Sometimes a team is really good at League of Legends, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm aware. I mean, look, I'm really enjoying watching the replays as well. I mean, even when you see Tarzan getting over the wall, I'm not quite sure if the Baron interrupts really had a significant impact on the play. Still ends up stealing that Baron. But Cloud Salt, please use Protobelt. Please use Protobelt. If not using Protobelt, I'll be so over the moon. I'm watching so close. No. Shanks TP'd mid as well.
He tried to do a Marin and
Tried to
protect the
clear the
wave.
wave, yeah.
Oh, man. And there was still
that's-
there was still minions in front of him.
That was such a great call.
I didn't see a Protobelt used in there, so clearly.
No,
it's
yeah,
item.
fine. You get 1
Someone
point.
in my,
Okay,
someone in
4-1.
my YouTube chat has actually coined the term, by the way, rage belting.
Yes.
That is the emote, by the way. Oh,
That is great.
Trevor, I'm just gonna say it is so good to have a compatriot and
Oh,
just
God.
winding
You and me
Alex
both,
up.
buddy.
Like,
Listen,
it is,
we got to spend
beautiful.
a lot of time together learning, senses of humor when we worked on EWC HQ.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of making fun of Namira,
It's a
he
wonderful
just needs to learn
pastime,
from
guys.
Knights, one of the best players in the world. He just won. The Protobelt helped him.
Oh, Ben's player of the game. Isn't that wonderful? Look at the son, player of the game. I think he did a great job in the front line there. What do we think about Ben?
Well, I think if he plays Ari top and gets a rocket bow.
Shuts.
Am I allowed to
clapper.
take a couple? Am I allowed to take a couple minutes to move? I know we've having a bit of fun, but can I take a couple minutes to ask you guys some questions?
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
we should
so-
do that. So, Sam, can I also get a coffee at some point too as well during this break, if that's all right?
In that case, I'll let you guys do lunch and I'll do a coffee run.
We need to actually just reset a couple things. I got to go on an ad break. Do you want to do this
Okay.
now, Trev? You just want to give it
Do
a
it
minute
after.
or two?
Hit
We'll do-
your
okay,
ad
so we'll chill
button.
out for a couple of minutes,
I'll
and we'll do it
deafen
after
and
we
I'll
come back
see
to
you in
the
a
ad
couple minutes as well. Yeah.
Cool, that sounds great.
If you are watching on my stream, I've just deafened on Discord. Thank you so much for hanging out. We're trying to do something a little bit different today. It is a lot of fun hanging out with Namira and Initialize. I actually had the pleasure of hiring Namira when he joined as a color caster. Initialize, we brought her from ERLs. We saw him from EMEA Masters, which is really, really fun. And we just figured we wanted to have a bit of a tricast. So I think we'll probably do this for another game. If this ends up being a 2-0, then maybe game 3 I'll move back to being, just our stream. I know in chat, there's a couple more people from Alex and Sam's chats that are joining. But thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. It's a different vibe. It's a different energy. I'm also learning how the stream together button works. I think Grathek in particular has been making fun of my age for an entire game. So that's fun. You know, thanks for that. But it is really cool. So it was a great Protobelt cast. Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of fun. I mean, it is crazy because the boys have cast and like co-streamed LPL for hundreds to now thousands of games. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit a 1 minute ad break. If you're not following, please follow. If you are able to subscribe, consider. I'll see you in 1 minute, and then I want to ask the boys a couple of questions. So I'll see you in a second. Also, for those of you who are on Twitch, who are on YouTube, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I am obviously streaming on both channels at QuickShot Official, and it's super appreciated. Okay, I think I've undeafened, so we'll see where the boys are. They'll say hello to us in a couple of seconds. If they are... yeah, so I think Sam can hear me. Alex can't right now. That doesn't matter. But we're going to jump into Game 2 in just a little bit. I'm very much appreciative of everybody that's hanging out. If you are in my chat, like I said, I'll probably do one more game and then we'll return to the regular Unk stream vibes. I think for our show and for the people that have been hanging out on our channel, it is a slightly different energy. You know what I mean? So Loteki Brokali, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Like the title says, we're currently doing a tricast. Having some fun with Namira and Initialize. Definitely not Tyrion. Bring Brees for LPL. Hey, listen, I'll ask him. Thank you for the follow, Tyrion. And as I like try my ranked and play some more games, we'll do that. So we'll definitely give it a bash. Oh, summer's going to be hard in this room.
Hello. Just had a random call from my grandparents, and I thought I should pick that up.
Oh, that's really lovely.
A little while.
That's
yeah,
very
no, they're
lovely.
My Welsh grandparents down in Bridgend.
Down in the valleys.
Oh, down in the valley, exactly.
Well, listen, I want to just take a couple minutes, just quickly before we get to picks and bans and we go all serious mode again. How long have you guys been co-streaming the LPL now?
So that's got a bit of context to it because I was on the LPL official broadcast in 2023. Started co-streaming it a little bit during then because, oh, thank you so much for the gift subs, by the way, Luca. That's very, very kind of you. But yeah, we started in 2023 because we could kind of tell the way the wind was blowing in regards to broadcasts and seeing the success of people like Cadrel. You kind of have to have your own brand. In terms of when I started casting it on co-stream, that would have been partway through 2024 when the official LPL broadcast only broadcast half of the games during the week. So we did the other half then. So we've been doing it 2 and a bit years now, 2.5 years.
2.5 years. I've seen the streams on a whole bunch. How many thousands of games are we at? 1,000? 2,000?
Two and a
three?
bit. We'll say 2 and a bit, I think. Because every year
2,000 games in LPL. Oh my word, that is crazy.
Every year you have about somewhere between 700 and 900 games, depending on how the format changes, how many games the series go to. Probably a little close towards 900, I think, if you also include Demacia Cup and other secondary tournaments. So yeah, you go a couple of years deep into it, you think, okay, I have to kind of like make some approximations now, but it probably is over 2,000.
That is crazy. 2,000 games for the Hap Goods. I will say this, I've noticed a bit of a meta among some of the other LPL co-streamers that like dog cams are a thing. For people who are on my stream, you can actually see Appa. She's chilling on camera. Like, are you guys gonna do dog cam? Can I suggest that as an idea?
Can you just take the hoodie off? Right hand side on there. Right hand side on there. Okay, yeah, that. Take both them off. Yeah, but that off. Get me the third one. Yeah, okay. I don't have a dog. I have an Ari cape, and that's as close as it gets.
No, but hang on. I'm not here to see you in a cape, mate. I'm not here.
well, that's your viewers, Quickshot. How can you assume for mine?
Fair play. Fair play.
When they put this on, they get a little belt around it and it allows them to move a dash forward about 20 feet.
Also, massive shout out. Thank you so much, Tyrion, for the sub on my side. Drop a follow, drop a subscription, drop a like. If you're watching on YouTube, it helps so much. If you're involved in chat, if you comment, and if you give it a thumbs up, it pushes people, pushes the feed to more people. So really, really helpful. So definitely, support. Thank you for hanging. It's been really nice. I mean, look, I've done 7 or 8 co-streams. The EWC qualifiers were crazy. We managed to get a whole bunch of people tuning in because there wasn't a lot of competition, which was great. And I'm just excited that for the next couple of months, I've got a lot of content to be streaming, a lot of time to be spending on the computer. I'm old. I'm still learning how Discord works. But I'm very grateful that in this scenario, how the dynamic has shifted and flipped, from back when we were on broadcast together, and now I get to sit here and join your guys' show. So it's really appreciated. It's really fun.
It's one of the really cool things about esports is that you run into when you cross paths with people multiple times, like people change in terms of what they learn. I mean, back in 2022, when I came into LEC, I'd only had 2 weeks of studio experience from NLC. And that was all I'd done. Now, I'd cast tons and tons of remote series. In fact, I'd say that Sam and I are some of the most experienced remote broadcasters in the world.
Yeah, this point.
We did LGL, we did UK scene. In fact, Lookout was saying that both Milky Cereal and us have co-streamed their team before, which is you make these contacts and cross paths a couple of years later, and you pick up a thing or two. But of course, the camaraderie and the feelings still stay the same, don't they?
Exactly.
Into draft now for game 2.
All right. By the way, I still wanted to highlight the fact that Tarzan's the danger man. I also appreciate that for today's series, we've actually swapped sides. I think something like 13 out of the 14 games, 13 out of 15 games, teams stayed on exactly the same side this entire weekend. So we're actually seeing some pivots and changes, and I want to see how that's going to affect the draft.
Yeah, because again, obviously, they've done that thing where they've decoupled first pick and counter pick from side select, or from being on blue on red side, which has made things a little bit weird on that front. Because what it does mean is then you start having a bit of a conversation about terrain, and that does matter at a very high level. As if you are running Misfortune on red side, you can bullet time from over the back of the Baron Pit wall, and that makes her more valuable in that scenario. So there are those little things that start to matter there as well, but often then it's more of a question about, well, what side, what pick select do you prefer?
Yeah, so for instance, on the side selection, blue side is great at invading Raptors with the top laner. Flondra loves to do that, and particularly in the LPL, that can be a big factor. And it sadly though, it does mean we don't just have red 5 anymore. Of course, the Luke Skywalker pick, as Sam talks about it, the last pick in the draft, red's 5 standing by, maybe not the same anymore because red side's first pick here.
More importantly, Tarzan locked in Nefiri. He's the only one that I personally give the The
We have
Nefiri
dog
passed
cam.
worldwide.
Got dog
Okay?
cam. Here is the dog
We
cam.
have dog cam. Okay, 7 games played this year. 5 of them are wins. But more importantly for me, it's the way that he plays. He's got a 6 KDA on this champion, and just 2 or 3 days ago, literally dismantling people who stood in his way. So I think when we look at how LGD were destroyed, that's going to be a concern for me, and I want to see what BLG do laning wise.
The other thing that's been let through is, of course, the Jarvan, which is another one of those very, very high priority junglers. Again, you don't win the 1v1 versus the Nefiri. You can see some debate for the Lee Sin, which is a bit more mobility. These are all very fun hovers.
Give us a Lee Sin.
And he is going to go towards
yes,
the
yes.
Lee Sin. We can absolutely see this one fight toe-to-toe with the Nefiri earlier on. Again, LPL is one of the better regions at playing with Nefiri in general, basically because, as we were talking about, when we choose to fight between objectives, often to blow off flashes and that kind of thing, and Nefiri is one of the absolute best at abusing those kinds of moments. You can see the Lucian Milio for Hope and Kyle as well.
I'd say that Ryze Lee Sin's pretty damn good at that too. Because there are some champions which don't need ultimates to kill you very easily. If Ryze roots someone in front of a Lee Sin, the Q is point and click, and that is really not okay for a champion to have like Lee Sin. It's just not fair. If you have a Renekton there, that's also someone that can point and click. Bin, I think, is just going to go for solo lane domination now. The Ryze gives you the global from mid lane to go towards a volatile top lane matchup. Remember at the end of last game, Trevor, when I was talking about Anyone's Legend, things kind of went well for them. They had a non-volatile top lane matchup. Things didn't explode out of lanes. If you get Bin's Jace with a Ryze from Knight, the best player in the LPL, roaming up to your lane, that is bad news for Anyone's Legend. I don't know what they do to neutralize this Jace, and I certainly don't know what they do to neutralize Jace with Knight coming up to help him.
And what is going to be banned away now? The Gnar's already moved from the pool. Rumble removed from Flandre as well, one of his most played champions. You have to assume... Well, this is the other challenge as well, keep in mind. BLG, where do they prioritize their bans, right? Because you've got your 2 solo laners locked in. You may open up a surprise option for Shanks or Flandre, but it's also just like, we've got Bin and Knight. What do you think you're going to do?
Right, it's very challenging, right? Because at this point, we've got 2 of the most potent laners in the game on 2 of their most comfortable and potent laning champions in Ryze and Jace.
And also, it's Ryze, one of Knight's best champions, one of the best champions in the game, period, and also one of the key counters is out. The Cassiopeia is not there to hold the Ryze down. You have Annie and Anivia, which are champions which can typically cause some issues for the Ryze in lane. Instead, they ban out the Twisted Fate, which could have been played top lane. It is technically a double flex right now, and Flandre's played bits and pieces of it top lane. The Anivia looking, I guess, sort of likely here for Shanks, unless he wants to go towards something more like the Azir or the Victor if he cares less about the laning phase proper.
Is Bard still open? When would you Bard? That's going to be a question here. We saw it into the Ezreal. It's on, so I think it's always possible.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You're against the Lucian Milio. You might go Corki Nami for laning phase, because you need a strong 2v2. If you go for the bot and go for the Jhin, we haven't seen a Senna from BLG this split. We haven't seen that.
Okay, so can I go back? Can I just go out super quickly? This is what I was mentioning a little bit, Alex. I think with the way 26, 9, 10, and now 11 is pushing teams, when you said we've not seen the Senna this split, I have noticed this as a trend in LCK, LEC, and in the LPL. We're pulling out. That's also the nature of balancing. We're getting ready for MSI, but I do just find it fascinating to see like absolutely 0 plays that now gets pulled out.
Yeah, and again, we've had 1 or 2 Senna enjoyers in the LPL. Shout out to Leave in particular, who's probably the best Senna in the world. Like, he stacks like nobody else. Because again, we'll get into it in game, but like there are particular breakpoints on Senna and what's expected to be hit in terms of your stat count at 20 minutes. And if you don't hit them, you aren't feeling very happy as a champion. Hell, I think Hansama got away with it last night, for example, because he was having a really rough time until Skumon brought DK out and smacked him all around anyway.
What a series, man.
Are we going to see Nasus Are we going to see more Nasus in the LPL?
There are some junglers which I think can pull it out. I think the player that would have done it would have been Guon on NIP, but sadly for him, he's actually now been knocked down to the lower group. This is their arena, by the way, Guon and NIP. They were meant to be playing
depressing.
playoffs on their own stage, and then they were beaten by EDG.
Can I
unexpectedly.
do a little bit of behind the scenes info? That's actually part of the reason that our road trips in the LEC are during the middle of a season, because if you're KC and you host a road trip, you're guaranteed to play in regular season.
Yes.
But if you host a finals, you're not guaranteed to appear in it. So just interesting business things for behind the scenes that a lot of people don't necessarily think about or
It's
talk about.
pragmatism, right? It's pragmatism. The LPL has something like 5 teams with arenas, and that has to factor into that too. On locks in the Alistair, so he's going to have a tank to go there. On's Alistair is also really good. It's not really been as much of an Alistair meta in Split 2. It was in Split 1 for a bit. On our side, we actually run a quick ad break after draft, just to make sure we don't have ads during the game. Unless there's a damn pause, which ruins everything, and it means you get ads in game anyway, but that's a separate thing, isn't it? Thanks, LPL Production. Coaches will fist bump as I go away from my brief rant. You see, I have to let out my anger on something else now that Proto Belt's not in the conversation.
What
It's
I
fine.
can do
Yes,
is
go for
bring
it.
everyone to make sure, because basically, because Trev's done a really wonderful job of saying, hey, make sure to follow us. Guys, if you don't know who Quickshot is at this point, I don't know what you've been doing in League of Legends over the last 10 years. But if you are not following Quickshot, please do so, especially on the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel that Trevor's been starting up to do some more co-streaming stuff. Be great to make sure that you guys are like, well, I know Quickshot. Well,
It's
go
been
give him
pretty
some bloody
wild.
love then. Go follow him.
2,500 followers in 10 days. So look, it's not
There we
massive, right?
go.
But it's like, considering I was at 4K and I'm now at 6.7, it's great. I saw a message in chat talking about draft. Wait, we're gonna wait for the Gyros.
在大家的这个进攻加油当中，野区一开始其实 AL 是想要去找一些机会的，毕竟是那 FAD 的。
The gyros wait for no man, quick shot.
Yeah,
Bloody hell,
that is the
there.
case. I'm a fan. I think Anyone's Legend have won some people over in the arena. I think that was more balanced than the first game. But I also want to say this. I really like Alistair as an option into when you look at picks like Aurora and Ethereolution. The Unbreakable is just so valuable if you are going to be one of the initiation tools. But when I look at BLG, I once again look and go, they have an intricate team fight because you've got a non-stand. You don't really have a frontliner, right? You've got a lot of mobility between some of the matchups. But if Cassante gets ahead and 1,000 years you, I get a little nervous. I think there's windows. There's windows for Tarzan and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, but this is why in LPL, I don't always focus on the team fights, because we can see already, look at the minimap, so much is about early jungle invade. Now, I think you go to Europe, you go to NA, a lot of it does come down to those gate game team fights. Right now, it's about early jungle pathing. Level 1 from Viper and Honors, they can test. Okay, contest onto the Krugs and punt Tarzan over the wall!
So beautifully done. Tarzan's not done yet. Viper still wants to try and pick up some of that farm. We'll be able to at least get a couple of trades down. Tarzan's level 2. Kale's pushed forward. He's level 2. 13 CS for Hope. Viper has only got 2 right now. So keep in mind the experience. Damage being put onto the tower. And now the tower dive at level 1. Let's go, Anyone's Legend. First blood picked up for Hope's Lucian. And they got to step backwards. Darkin Daggers were held. And Viper is behind in 2 levels, down, 2.5 waves of experience. And you've just given a Lucian first blood.
Yeah, they wanted to go mess with Nefiri, pick up some souls from that. Again, the Senna always trades souls for farm, is very happy to do that. Yeah, you drop a little bit there, but being at level 1 versus the level 3 Lucian, and Lucian with level 3 has so much more potency than nearly any other bot laner right now because of how much you can do with it. They get beyond the wave, they get on, and the weak side bot lane from BLG is punished well there, Bear.
There is a ton of context to this. Look, Hope has been the most criticized member of Anyone's Legend over the last few years. He's been seen as the player that holds back this team. He's now been given early resources from his jungle, early kill in the lane, and he's on a Lucian, which is very powerful here in the LPL. Now, I think BLG were really taken off guard by the early invade. They were looking at enemy Raptors. They weren't protecting their own bot side, and On lost a lot of HP to go defend that and left Viper alone at the level 1. See that BLG were really quite sucker punched by that AL. One of the things which I was looking for them is good level 1 plans. Don't let BLG sit in their laning momentum, really, and just bully you out of the map. This is much better from them. I really like that level 1.
And not only that, I actually think it's even a bigger mistake when you look at the matchups. Lucian Melio into Senna Alistair. Of course the first levels are going to go Anyone's Legends favored. And then you've got the ability for Nefiri to play around. Shun's going to step forward into Tarzan, Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike. Daggers go up, and look, Knight already the first to move. If that continues, Bin is also pushing in that front lane, the top lane. So BLG are more likely than not going to be able to move first in the middle and top lanes.
Kyle's also roamed over, though. There's going to be a bit of a support number advantage there. They end up protecting the route to respawn. That's important. Tarzan actually traded really well back against Lee Sin there. Neferi, you hit a double Q, you heal, you do a ton of damage. The champion is really busted if you hit your skill shots, turns out. And Tarzan knows how to use that very, very well. Now, the Lee Sin Rise is going to be a very important combination for BLG. When the goings got tough for BLG, one thing that they've relied on very heavily is Shun and Knight on a burst combo, whether that was Vi Ari or something with a Syndra involved, Nocturne Oriana. They play kind of every kind of flavor of it. The Rise Lee Sin has been a recent LPL favorite, where the Rise just rune prison someone in front of the Lee Sin and they get decked. There's very little you can do against the Lee Sin landing a full combo onto you. And Shun Knight in particular for BLG, this has been bread and butter for them.
I'll also want to point this out here as well, that obviously you were chatting about, hey, the intricate team fight from BLG, Trev. The other side of this coin, as we have seen Senna on the Doran's helm, and has she got inspiration in that? I'm not sure she does, so it's again a mistake.
No,
okay.
okay.
I'll let Alex
so,
about this
let me
later.
nerd out. Permission to nerd out?
Yeah, go nerd out first.
Okay,
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Jack of all trades is a minor rune in the inspiration tree, which gives you ability haste and some extra stats when you have different stats built in your items. So magic resist, armor, HP, attack speed, you name it. Doran's Helm gives you a lot of stats as an AD carry you wouldn't get from other items and allows you to get a lot of value out of Jack of all trades, but he hasn't taken it as a rune. So he's built up the Doran's Helm, which is, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad starter item, but the real power of this on champions like Lucian or on someone like Senna at points too is that you get value from a weird rune interaction.
And there's no weird rune, so they don't get the interaction, and so half the value of the helm is gone.
Nerding out for very little value.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
It's very appreciated though, because I did not actually know that. But I will say this, by the way.
I tuned into LS's stream the other day, learned about it, and now I'm going to pretend I knew about it all along. Great stuff.
Yeah, but you don't have to say it that way. You said so confidently it was yours. And by the way, that level 1, the play in the bottom lane has still allowed Hope to pull ahead 600 gold in that bottom lane. Comes back with the Sheen, the double longswords. It's a domestic dispute bottom lane between Lucian and Senna. So we need to see who's going to get
Who comes out best in the divorce? Yeah.
Who's going to be able to? Yeah, exactly. Who gets the control? What's not control? Damn it, that was such a good joke until I forgot the word. Anyways.
Oh, no, but Trevor, you said it so confidently. You made it your own.
Oh, damn it. Okay, didn't.
All right,
that was
bit
good.
of pettiness.
That was good.
That
That was custody. Custody's the word. That's what I wanted.
Back into like gameplay here. Now, Trevor, one thing about the meta for this year, which I think is really important in almost every region, the scuttle crab that spawns at 6 minutes is very important, and anyone's legend just got that. You'll notice why, because it gets you level 60 if you've been farming properly in jungle. If you get 2 full clears, get the level 6 scuttle crab, you get your ult first. Neferi needs a little bit of time to get into the game. Getting that scuttle crab, because of the bot lane prio, does genuinely help the Neferi, the power champion on anyone's legend, to get ahead.
There's going to be a bit of a play bot as the Cullings come on down, and also the Neferi is coming. Quick shot, mate. I think they're going to dive this.
It's time. Level 6. Unleash the hounds, Tarzan. Run from the jungle and give Hope yet another kill. Plates have already been secured in the bottom lane. In the middle lane, by the way, Shanks was roaming down. Viper gets jumped on again. This is a triple kill total for Hope in the bottom lane. He, while being one of the most criticized players, has got all the tools needed to take over this game.
Yeah, and BLG, this is something they got wrong versus WE earlier in the bracket and playoffs, where they would just say bot lane will be fine, because most of the time
thank
they
you so
are,
much
until
for
it goes
the gifted
wrong
side,
against
Tony
champions
Terrier.
with Snowball, like this Neferi, or even the Lucian on the other side of it. You've given over what could be a game-ending lead, if used well from anyone's legend on the Lucian. Viper and On, they very rarely get resources from their team. They are very used to having just survival in the 1v1. Viper on Caitlyn, Ezreal, Jhin, strong champions which can exist on their own. And they don't really like having the focus put onto their lane as it's been doing in this game.
Look, it's not quite the Eye of Sauron, but they've certainly drawn the Eye of Tarzan bot lane,
Ooh,
which has
nice.
allowed Knight and Bin to get isolated laning matchups. And that is what BLG have basically traded bot lane's entire existence for. You've got
Sam, listen,
significant
Essence
CSD
Reaver
mid
on
and
Lucian.
significant CSD top. Yes.
Hope has got Essence Reaver already. That was like a 6.5 minute purchase. Tarzan goes, ape together strong and yanking bottom lane, bringing all of the party fun. But it has been at the cost of the 2 solo lanes. Both Bin and Knight are up like 20 CS solo. And that's almost a solo kill purely. Dark and Daggons misses. Come on, Tarzan. The secondary shot does. And I think this is starting to get scary because Knight and Bin may not get a chance to impact this game if Hope has already won it.
And this is why, you know, in game one, sometimes narrative have a reason, folks. If you say the same thing enough, people understand why it happens. LPL is the region of junglers. The level 1 invade in jungle helps give anyone's legend the win condition. The level 1 invade leads to the later dive. It comes through from that jungle and the early level 1 plans. Anyone's legend have got themselves a win condition through their early jungle decision-making as a team.
And if you want to look at when EU was doing that, right, well, just look at Skewmond at first stand. That's why we were praising him so heavily, is because they had those level 1 plans. It got Skewmond into a great position, and then the next step of taking that lead and converting it into a continual building of resources and pressure. Those re-invades, the wards that have gone down. Look where AL have got those wards around that red side quadrant, and then the continual dismantling of this center and this Alistair. That's the power.
I love that point, Sam, because in game 1, I really liked anyone's Legends River wards and River control. Look how much they pushed it further this time around, right? They're on the red side, they swapped over, but like they've given all of the tools to Hope and to Kale to push the lead, but it is at the expense. Down 20 CS top lane, 900 gold. Nearly 20 CS mid lane, around 600 gold. Knight is already stacking the rower. Bin's like working towards the culling. The cull, I should say. But now we need to see those shock blasts. The shock blast has to land, right? So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Shun, does he stop the recall here? He does. Hang on. This could just be a kill. Kicks him into the wall. Flandra's going low.
Tries to get the W. Nice dash away to avoid it. Flash on forward to get the additional Q. Gets that. And now, of course, reminder, Shun has already picked up the grubs for BLG, so Jay should be able to dismantle that turret very shortly.
I've realized the problem. I've been play-by-playing in a solo cast for a lot of this year, so I'm also, like, tagging into the double play-by-play mentality.
When it's that easy, though, when it's that easy, I used to actually tell, like, Deficio and stuff, if it's just going to be so, just go with it. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
It was so obvious that Flandre was going to die and kind of depressing. I don't want to do it, dude. It's not fun for me.
Yeah.
You have
yes, so you'll give me the depressing... Okay, got it, cool.
Yes,
I get the depressing
exactly.
blows, I guess. That's appreciated.
Well, now actually to pull out one of the proper lines then, where's the Trevor kiss me moment? At
least buy into it. Really,
the only way that'll work, the only way that will work is if we cut to a shot of the crowd and they're making out. That is the crucial first step. Because that's how that
can't have Coldplay. Can't have Coldplay playing. It can't happen.
Oh no, don't mention that one.
That was good. Oh man.
Gosh.
Shun, by the way, looking for the engage here onto Shanks. Kale's already right behind him.
Hang on.
Hope starts to channel the culling. Where was the weirding? Shanks is going to hop over the world, between two worlds, I shall say. And now here comes Tarzan. Is it time to eviscerate? Is it time to obliterate? No, it is not time, as they may get decimated. Now On is going to push this way. Let's go. The pressure is there. BLG. Find the Rune Prison. Sonic Wave. Where's the Lee Syndrome? Not going to be enough. Hope forced to flash defensively, running for his life. That's in the middle lane. Kale's going to sidestep Senna's ultimate, and Tarzan gets another. Shun uses the Dragon's Rage kick just to buy time, and Flandre is holding off 3 members of BLG. It's a 2,000 gold lead. It's anyone's legend in control.
Bin thought he could one-shot Kyle. He misses the calculation and goes down. That's a good play from anyone's legend as they initially start with a good play onto Shun. This is one of those moments where you see HP being almost as useful as a kill. They don't kill Shun, but because he's so low, they realize, hang on, we can just fight. We can fight with that jungler being low. Anyone's legend take the kill onto Bin now. They get the dragon afterwards. They go back into the replay. Typically, you see a full HP Alistair with ult, and you think, this is a good moment for BLG. They punch Shanks back in, but they don't get to capitalize. There's no Rune Prison immediately after, and Bin thinks he can get the isolated play. It's a very close confrontation, but they don't quite combo up with the center ult well enough. Kyle lives. Bin, I think, would have died anyway. Close run knife fight.
I mean, speaking of Knight, right, like, didn't want to burn the flash, but as a result, because he was kind of in the red buff pit, wasn't able to kind of full combo Shanks once the headbutt came on forward, so Shanks actually managed to get over towards the wall, and they couldn't quite kill him off either, and that became a little bit problematic. And again, we've now got this 1,200 gold, well, 1,900 gold lead, let me read my numbers correct. They've also got the double dragons. AL are in a great spot this game. We were chatting, we kind of got a bit messy because of the amount of dives that are happening bot lane, but one of the points Alex was bringing up was like, hey, sometimes it's not about the 5v5s in the LPL. Sometimes it's about the ability to play towards these side lanes, and theoretically, that's what BLG have drafted for. They've got a control tower in mid lane and the center that can ult to the Ryze, ult to the Jace, who are shoving with the Grubs and the Lee Sin on one of these side lanes. The problem, Trev, is because they've fallen so far behind now, I don't know how free they're going to be able to do that.
Because
try and make a play here now.
Yeah, but listen, if Knight is trying to play on the side lane, this time round there's no knife to fight Knight, but it is not needed. 4 members of BLG are still taking over 10 seconds to kill Flandre. While that's happening, cross map in the middle lane, plates are going down. Shanks' Aurora in the top lane is left solo to pick up the farm, to pick up the plates. Multiple teleports are expended, so yes, you've got the kill onto Flandre and to Cassante, but that's not the danger, man. If you start playing those side lanes and then all of a sudden Tarzan comes in with the Hound's Pursuit, there's enough damage to tower dive with, insufficient vision. There are options here for anyone's legends.
On just gets destroyed. Kill, again, going to anyone's legend. They can stop the recall. Some very quick teleports across the map there with some very intricate macro. We're using that word a lot today, but I think it really fits this one. As BLG escape the potential dive onto the Jace by teleporting out of the lane, get the kill, teleport back to the other side of the map to try and hold the turrets that they left alone, but then they get a little bit lost in the source. BLG, as anyone's legend, just have a really strong Neferi, and Sam highlighted this earlier, really excels in those kind of moments where you're not quite set up, and Neferi just takes your heart out because they're so strong at this point, and they're very able to close down a lot of these members, like a Alistair without that flash.
I'll also note that BLG did at least get to do what their comp was supposed to do in playing towards the Ryze or the Jace. Jace is now 2,500 gold up individually. If there was a player on Jace that can still win you a game, it is Bin. He's cashed in the Cull. He's gone to Muramana first to stack that as fast as possible, to have as potent a mid-game as possible. No stopping off for something like a Ghostblade this game. Fight happening over the Herald.
We're going to get a contest. Teleport coming through front to back.
Sam,
Our
that's
first
yours.
5v5 of the game.
Oh yes, I'll take that one quite happily. The Realm Warp potentially behind. On's being sent, looking for the angle, immediately burns that ultimate to buy some time. Flandre gets a double pullback, not the best. The double head button pulverized from one, but he's left alone, and this fight is still going to go the way of anyone's legend. Flandre in the front line briefly gets away, and AL, again, the moment the 5v5s occur, they just feel so much happier.
Yeah, On ends up dying at the end of that just to get the Eye of the Herald. They ended up taking it with Shun, but they get the objective after. Did they lose anything because of the fight, though? Mid lane turret under threat.
Bin's thinking about just going to the skies and wiping that wave out again. Jace does have a fair amount of AoE as long as it's
By the way, the damage that Bin put down with a 2,000 gold lead is massive. Shun gets pulled away, is not going to be able to use that safeguard to safety, and will be killed. 404. All 8 kills have been involved for Hope, as well as Tarzan, 305. But I will say, when you notice that 2.5k gold in action, Bin hit 2 shock blasts in front of that Rift Herald and burned through like half of Hope and Kale's life. I don't care how hot those fires are from Melio. It's not going to be enough to survive that poke damage.
At that point, they're being used to like heat up like the hot cup things you do to like kind of like get rid of like the muscle pain at that point. That's as good as I got here, chat. You know?
Cooking some s'mores, you know what I mean? And the s'mores are, I don't know, Hope's life bars.
Yeah, they're very therapeutic, I hear, this time of year. That's not, it's only in winter. Anyway, Bin, getting towards that Muramana, only 1 stack away from that, as we've been talking about. Really like how Flandre used that all out there. The big thing about Flandre Quickshot, which I have to tell you, look, in 2015, Flandre was the carry player of the LPL, and when he was on Snake, he was the guy who played carries in an era of bruiser top laners around the very early days after the MSI win of 2015. Over time, he has matured into the thinking person's top laner. He is the person who might not win you the lane, but he will always have impact outside of it. He's down 2.5k, but with his clever vision play, got a kill onto the Lee Sin, which was really important to him. If he can do the same at this team fight again here around the Dragon, well, perhaps that'll put anyone's legend into a much more firm position, especially as it would be their 3rd Dragon.
Take a look very quickly at the itemization, by the way. That Flicker Blade has been sitting with Hope for a while. 2 items completed into a single on the opposite side for Senna. And of course, we do also have a massive pickup sitting for Bin. He's got the Cyclo Sword, 2 items. If anyone's legend do not rush this down, 1 shock blast burns 40% of Kale's life. Viper just gets caught. It's that simple. Shanks and Flandre can be down 5,000 gold combined. It doesn't matter if they catch someone face checking. The Rift Herald's been dropped to try to get something back. We'll at least put some damage onto the tower. They get the flash out of Shanks, and the 3rd dragon should be secured, and is. For anyone's legend, it is only 1,000 gold lead, but they will be able to force BLG's hand again in the following fights.
Yeah, but that 1,000 gold also comes with an additional bonus package of Hex Tech Soul points. Shun's about to get jumped onto here as well. Flash for the kick! That might be good, but the Breath of Life keeps him rolling. The Hound's Pursuit wasn't used in the fight. Shun just over the wall, but a flash, a smite, the Sonic Wave! Here comes the Dawning Shadow to keep him just about alive! No way does Shun get out there! I cannot believe it! On Main Trader's Life, he flashes as well! BLG get away without murder!
I'm not gonna lie, I think the mortuary were thinking they were gonna have a delivery there, but nothing's turned up in the mail.
I love this game. I love these skills. The fact that Shun's able to not only set up a potential kill, but then escape what was, 4 or 5 members of anyone's legends, gets out alive. They are not out of this game. They have all the tools available. The only thing is they really need to be careful.
Tarzan.
Hextech Soul plus a fed Nefarian Leash is going to be a problem. And Tarzan's not going to be able to close it up, but Hope just about may. Flash and barriers available to him. Now all of a sudden, Kale steps forward. Kick him with the ball. Shun will finally get taken out, and one last shot from Flandre does so. That's huge for somebody who was down nearly 3,000 God. Kale and Hope, can they set it up? The Ardent Blaze will not be enough to do so today, and anyone's legend get away.
I think Bin auto-attacked one of the dogs instead of Tarzan. I think that's why he lives. I think he does one of his auto-attacks just at the end of that trade onto Tarzan. We'll watch here again in the replay. This gets really close. It's the Fed member on each side going at each other. Watch this here. Where does the auto-attack go? It goes onto a dog! I don't know whether Tarzan was out of vision, but it saves his life. Shock Blast goes wide. Shun ends up kind of paying for the sins a little bit there because thinks he has the kill combo onto Hope. This is the kind of gameplay I thought I'd be seeing with the Lee Sin through here. Close run stuff.
What I'll note, though, is you do get Flash and Barrier off the Lucian. If you can take the Lucian, who was the one who got all of those early kills into that turret, then sometimes you'll say, you know what, Lee Sin died the one time, that's fine. If it means that in 2 minutes when we turn up to this Hex Tech Soul, which would be a potential for anyone's legend, you can bring down the Lucian, who's down some of those key summoners, we might be having a different conversation. I do also want to go back towards this Senna, who has obviously not been the highlight for BLG, but this is a very low soul count. We expect at least 60 at 20. That is a long way off that.
I mean, the problem is, like, Viper's in so much trouble, like, the entire game. Has been ganked multiple times. The tower has fallen. 20 minutes in, 12 kills in comparison to the previous game. The pace is so much higher. I want to contextualize, not forgive or give an excuse, shall we say, right? You picked Senna into this. You picked Senna into this. I think, you mentioned as well, it's like, okay, what are the bottom lanes? What are we anticipating? And it was an intentional draft, so for BLG, it's not working yet. And look at the vision. Once again, anyone's legend doing a great job. I missed the last few minutes because of the chaos, but they've set up around Baron. They've made it clear. If a cross map gets started in the next 90 seconds, they will be able to at least play around it. They've got teleports too.
Everyone's playing on top side. Everyone up here. Potential of using the Realm Warp to get the Alistair into the back line again, using the Senna moves.
This is yours, Sam.
Caught out a little bit there.
I'll keep an eye on it quite happily. Flandre gets away with the Pathmaker. Shun needs to safeguard out. Scuttlecrab, the fight over there. The Between Worlds comes on down as Shanks looks to find a bit more. The Shot Blast after follows. Tarzan eviscerating in. Will Hound's Pursuit still available? In goes Shun! Again he finds a pick! This time the Fender Fury goes down. Dragged all out. Jungle is traded. The Shot Blast lands onto. BLG sends blood in the water. Flash for the Rune Prison. The Breath of Life undoes that prison. They get out of jail. Not quite for free, but close enough.
LPL Lee Sin, man. That Lee Sin is speaking no English today. Does get the kick back onto their opposing number. And while he does go down, you take out the most important member of the other side. I think in this case, anyway, maybe you can argue, in fairness, there is a 5-0-5 Lucian, so maybe a bit unfair towards Hope. But taking down the Nefiri there shows that Shun, there's a really important fact we need to talk about Shun here. Look, Shun wasn't on BLG in 2025. He came back and he fixed, like, the vibes of the team, like no one else can. There was a revolving door of junglers in 2025 for BLG. Shun was who they returned to, their 24 and 2023 jungler. And right here, he's been playing a lot of this game at a deficit. It never really crosses.
Doesn't matter.
Shun is the kind of player who will just make the play gold be damned. And I really love that about this guy. It's a great all-out from Flandre. He catches him out again. But Shun, I love the spirit in which he plays for BLG.
Nefiri says, you're not locked in here with me. Flandre's like, no, you're locked in here with me. They just trade steals. But please keep your eyes on the minimap. The vision toggle this time around is great. BLG have got Baron control, but nothing in the Southern River. And Bin is landing so many great shock blasts that it's going to put anyone's legend on the back foot. The cullings are not working out yet. Flandre gets delivered and gets dunked down from the Mercurial Hammer of Jace. The Scimitar is firing down. The 4-man knockup. That is exactly how you do it. BLG are on fire. The hammer comes out once more from Bin. He's looking for the shock blast. Tarzan is running for his life. Put that dog down is what Bin is saying. He can't find the hit just yet, but he will send Melio hacking. Get him back to the farmyard. And one more for Shun. The re-engage from Tarzan. He's bopped down mid-flight. And BLG take absolute control.
That is a play only a Rise can make. Knight gives an Uber Eats delivery to anyone's legend, and it turns out that stake is more than rare. It's bloody alive still. Teleport down to the bot side of the map. BLG are making sure they get both objectives at the same time. Baron on one side, Bin covering the dragon.
Yeah, Shanks and Hope went to try and sneak away the dragon, would have got them the Hextech Soul, but Bin resets TPs in, and they can't stand in front of the firepower of Bin's Jace. We said he might be a win condition here in a way few other Jace players can be. He just comes in and says, you cannot play this. But AL have respawned. Massive chunk immediately onto Kyle, though.
Sam, that's yours, my friend. I took the last one.
Oh, yeah.
If there's a fight, like, tell you what, for this next big objective.
Okay, yeah, so that's one's just like one you bank in for the future. Okay, so Hextech Soul is avoided. There is a Baron taken for BLG. Now, Cassante feels like a very broken champion until his W is down. I am a firm believer Cassante W is the most broken ability in the game. It makes you unstoppable, it makes you basically undamageable, and it gives you mobility. Once it's down, though, a lot of Cassante's kit goes with it, and it means they can go for this play. What a ridiculous combo from Knights and On, delivers the cow into the backline, and it's an extended chase down which comes from that. That is beautiful. That is BLG making plays. Bull in a China shop, or at least in China. Incredible. Incredible. I'm
bull in a shop. No,
that
listen,
felt real good.
It's a bull in a shop in China. Yes. Namira, thank you so much. We delivered that. I will also say this right now. Something that I have noticed from watching throughout the course of most of Spring Splits, actually, in the Spring regular season and playoffs, the first Baron power play tends to not finish very early, right? And I think thanks to Durex, of course, that's why that's not going to happen here for BLG. They do have some time, to work around this very sensitive situation that anyone's legend find themselves in, because the culling has not been impactful multiple fights in a row, despite the fact that we've seen Viper and Flandre caught out with, I think, questionable positioning. BLG have just got the range, and Shun is currently finding target after target. So if Shun gets withheld, maybe AL have a chance.
Do you think they sponsored the backdoor in game one?
All I'm saying is the balls are in BLG's. I mean, ball is in BLG's.
How is it going down? That's important. I hear it, BLG. 3,000 gold power players. They keep letting.
I'm sorry. Look, this is the first weekend that I've had the opportunity to see a Durex sponsorship. There's a lot of silliness and childish behavior that I haven't been able to get out. I will be professional for a moment. Because of the fact that Bin's damage, I think, has been able to keep AL on the back foot. I think Knight's, Room Presence, and Shun, the three of them said, it doesn't matter what Viper and On have done, we'll just win this game.
Yeah, I think that Hope, obviously he's been given a lot of gold. It's been really hard for him to find a target to not instantly get exploded by and actually do damage. It was great in a split map state. But this raises some issues. If you're going to give resources against enemy bot lane, again, this is a way which BLG have sometimes fallen apart. If anyone's legend can't execute through this, that is another checklist point of things which I would want them to try in this series to get over BLG, which they might have failed at.
And again, we were joking. We've joked on the Hopium podcast with you, Trevor, about BLG standing for bad late game. that has started to shift over this split somewhat. And actually, credit to them, they were the ones who were behind this game, and they're now in a great spot to take this one all the way.
And I think there's two reasons for that. I think Shun coming back helps the spirit of the team. They don't just collapse when one thing goes wrong. And the second thing is, I think, it's confidence. Winning first stand for BLG wasn't just big for the LPL crowd. I mean, we've heard the Gyos at the start of the games. They are huge. They roar in every arena now. But I think particularly for Bin and the other players, it's a real kind of like seal of approval to say, yes, you can be the best. You can be the best in the world. You're not second best anymore. You're not losing Game 5 at, Worlds Finals. You're not losing to Genji at MSI 24 Finals, something like that. This is the first international title which BLG ever got, of course, ever since becoming that kind of crazy international household name ever since 23 before Knight came through. There is something different about this team. They're still in the lower bracket. They're still in a deathmatch against anyone's legend, but this is in the context of why we believe in this team.
You wouldn't know based on how the game has played out. Like anyone's legend, I think have been really controlled. I think anyone's legend have actually had really good moments. But when it comes down to the individual stepping up and shining, like BLG, just not paying any respect. Just super quickly, if you're looking at my stream, my dog has decided to come and play with me, so she's literally sitting under my feet. She's a Samoyed, for those asking, so the upper cam's really cute right now. And Sam, the next fight is still yours, my friend. But I will draw attention to 3.5 items completed here for Bin already. 3,800 gold is the lead. Knight has got himself nearly full build. He's got Proto Belt as well. We like it on Rice. We got Proto Belt on Aurora. We like it on her too.
Okay, you're bringing out the belt. We've got a dragon in 30 seconds, and Knight is still in the side lane. You can teleport in if he wants.
Oh, Hope just eats all of his health bar! The Breath of Life keeps him alive. The culling comes on down. He just about gets away with what Shankster, looking at that potential angle, goes between worlds. Just about now. Looking to find the angle, doesn't quite get the damage he needs, and Viper gets out alive, has to burn both summoners, but is in one place. AL have better position in the river.
Knight chose not to teleport in early there. Lots of cooldowns, lots of HP. Knight got the recall in. How powerful is he now? Teleport for the shield from Flandre.
Oh!
Like 2 feet away from him!
Oh, he does get rooted up, though. The last embrace still there. Shun's down to 20% HP, though. That's problematic. Flandre surviving. Look into the lane we go, though. Bin's blown up, Flandre. Down into pieces. Dragon down to 4,000 HP. 4v5. The shot blasts keep landing. AL think they might flip it anyway. Can you smell the burgers? In goes Shun. He gets out as well. Tarzan will call the pack, but I don't think anyone's answering. They can do nothing for him. The Realm Warp Viper is here. Kael runs, but poor little Milio, my friend. Your little fireballs mean nothing to the snake in the bot lane.
Huge fight for BLG. They'll take the dragon, and they're likely taking the game off of this. It might not be at this moment, but I think that's the gold lead which will break the spine of anyone's legend. Knight chose not to teleport, and Tarzan goes down. Knight chose not to teleport in early because he could back for an actualizer, come in, and just take the heads off of anyone's legend.
Unbelievable team fight from BLG. I think Bin had one accelerated shock blast to chunk down about 60-70% of Hope's hit points, and then as soon as he swaps to hammer form, the burst damage is too high, the item advantage is too much to deal with, and the fact that Lucian is such short range, he simply can do nothing about it. Flandre, what was that tweet? Tarzan, that teleports. In the previous... In the previous game, we saw the Tarzan Pantheon that was bad, and this time Flandre, that TP sucked.
Yeah, you get a shield after you teleport now, but sitting there in front of the carry, not the best scenario ever. Shanks gets a crazy amount of damage down. He almost one-shots the backline, but he dies for it, and Shun goes in and explodes the Lucian. All of this gold on the Lucian has meant jack all. It's done nothing in this game. The Lucian has not been able to execute, and the complaints about Hope must be pretty close at hand for him. It's not a great situation to be in as a player, but those doubts, that's a big amount of gold they gave him. He's not using it.
Whereas on the other side, Bin took that gold and turned it into a hubris. A hubris at third item is the kind of imperious arrogance that Bin's become known for. Shun's going to get jumped on here with the House Pursuit and the Culling. He's still alive, the Dawning Shadow.
Word.
I can't believe it. Trev, take it from here because the madness keeps
so
rolling.
Much damage from Senna, considering she was obliterated from the game. Viper's now looking to close AL and take them down for a second time. The Dawning Shadow plus the accelerated shock blast, it ends up being a quadra kill for Viper, saying, Hope, get wrecked.
I can't believe that the game starts with all the kills to Hope, but folks, Hope is gone, at least for anyone's legend. BLG, I think it's less about Hope, more about cold, harsh reality. They are stomping anyone's legend. We'll go 2-0 up in the series. 3 match points for them.
I am in awe of these two teams in a lot of ways. They have been so back and forth, but what I am seeing is BLG have the ruthlessness in the later stages that anyone's legend don't. The poise is just a bit better. From the players you want to see it from. We saw a little bit of a cam there onto Bin. He gets his Jace, he gets the Goldie, despite the early deficits for the rest of the team, and he converts that alongside some magic from Shun, let's make no mistake about it, and they blast those later.
And also, I want to be clear about this, by the way. The words that we want to use, it was a dispute in the bottom lane. There are some more aggressive words you can use, which I want to avoid. But as far as custody of the right to face Monkey and Team WE, that custody sits with BLG right now. Oh yeah, maybe Thresh will be the weird uncle that gets permission.
Oh no,
Guys, I'm going to say this. Do you want to just like say a little bit of goodbyes and wrap up? If this ends up being a 3-0, I'm going to go from this to Counter-Strike. So I'll hang with my crew, my slightly smaller, my stream. But I want to say thank you. That was awesome. I would like to do this again in the summer season after MSI.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed this. Chat, I hope you have done that as well. Of course, we stream in 3 different places. We've got 2 different YouTube streams, including Onivia Highlights channel. And if you've been enjoying this, come watch us again. Come ask for it. Tag us. Go find clips. If you want us to do this, we will do it, I think. I mean, I've really been enjoying this.
Real blast.
I had a blast. And also, I don't think we live too far from each other. So maybe we can actually set up, like I can bring my laptop over. Maybe we can do a in-person TriCast, you know?
Yeah,
but
I've got the headsets
we
for
can
it.
do
We
that.
can make it happen.
My brain is going to production mode on that. We can make this happen, and I think we I would love
Let's
to
make
do
it.
that.
Let's make a date for Summer Split. Okay, I think based on what I can see from the chat, it seemed to be pretty successful. I know I enjoyed it, so yeah, consider it a date, boys. We'll see you. We'll see you in a few weeks. Okay, thank you so much. I love you
Enjoy
all.
the Counter-Strike.
I'm hoping to. The game started at 2. It's elimination matches. If you want to learn about Counter-Strike, once this is done, come hang out with me. I can teach you a little bit about CS2. All right, cool. See you guys later.
Cool.
Right, how does this work now? I gotta push that button. I gotta drop there. And then I think we want to end collaboration. Okay. Listen, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed hanging out with Initialize and Namira. We've got more games coming. I mentioned it as well. It's going to be a 2 o'clock start for the Counter-Strike 2 lower bracket matches or the elimination matches. I will explain all of that once we get there. But for now, because of the fact that it's quite a energy and tonal shift with the Hapgoods on the stream, I wanted to have one game with just our small stream. It's something I want to build, I want to earn, I want to do well. So if you are listening to my voice and you're not looking, we do have Doggo Cam at the moment. She decided to come and sit on my legs. She wants some attention. She might be hungry. I need to check that. Right. What I am going to do is I'm going to take an ad break very quickly, go to the toilet, get some water. We'll come back with game 3. Do not go anywhere. I'm going to be sitting here for a few more hours. As I said, because it's going to be a 2 p.m. Counter-Strike start, we're going to transition from this to CS. So I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, what do I need to do? This one and this one. Come on up.
两位老师也可以投出心仪的一票了。
我是想在上单个辅助里出。
是，但我这票我会给到兵吧。我觉得这把还是，就中上野前面把整个局面撑得上来，就包括中上的一个对线，然后包括熏起几波踢人嘛。但确实还是杰斯这个画面感太足了。
那我给一票给这一场的 on 吧。
就是后面几波1开3，包括1开4，
确实。
这兵哥第一波尝试，但没成功。
是
这把真的就是，
还有熏的2脚，这太关键了。
这波虽然说双方打也没死，但是事实上这个他俩还死里逃生，一路追。
来了，再 Q 一下河蟹，然后 Viper 给了个盾，没有让熏被流血流死。啊，又摸一下，又奶一口，全是续航。
测试伤害，发现打不过。
然后第一时间就也进草了，然后开了个扫描。
这里熏也是过来保了一手啊。
L 就是输了河道这波团吧，其实就是打野赏金被提了，拿到这个赏金之后，就兵不一样了。
是的，
这局是
这边确实是盛江哥跟自己队友脱节了。
前10分钟可能看下来，观众有点没想到，这种肥
是的
路现在居然没有统治整个游戏。哎，因为这把感觉来到中期，就是BLG一直带着 L 节奏在走，
是。
反而 L 那边是防守
Off
一
to
边
now
有
on.
这里也是
Hello,
一
everybody.
开4，然后全收了。
Are you kidding me? I sit down, and Mecha Fanboy, dude, you've donated just 50 subs while I was in the loo.
这波又是一
You are insane, my friend. Joining a very, very elite group of people who I am eternally, eternally thankful for. I can't quite believe you did that. Thank you. Also, great name. Great name. If your name is Mecha Fanboy, have you read United States of Japan? Please look it up. Please look it up. It is an incredible alternate history sci-fi series, and Mecha play a very big part of it. There's the thing of Mecha Samurai Empire. It's a trilogy. The author is also a big League of Legends fan. He actually sent me early copies of the book because he liked watching the show. So there's a recommendation for you. I cannot recommend any higher. Folks, if you are watching on YouTube, I do need you to know that when we transition to Counter-Strike 2, I won't be able to keep the YouTube stream up. The only one that I have approval for is on Twitch. So once this series is over, I will transition over to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne Major. And we're going to be taking a look at Astralis versus Pain. It is a best of 3 series to start. Okay. So if you're on YouTube and you do want to watch the Counter-Strike with us, we're going to be on Twitch. Now, for everybody on Twitch, I do need to be kind of cutthroat about this. I need to maintain like 75 viewers in order to work towards partner, in order to maintain like numbers, to paperwork to get there. So when we do go to Counter-Strike, if the numbers drop too low, I may need to actually end the stream. It's not something I want to do, but until I start to get people aware, or like I start developing enough of a community that people just want to stick around no matter what we end up doing, that's just really important for me, and I'm sure the people who are listening and still watching now, you'll probably understand. If you've never watched Counter-Strike before, you want to learn about it, I promise you there is no better teacher. I promise you. I will do my best to do an intro. I also want to create some clips for at least the first game so I can show more people that I want to do this. Hopefully I get the word out. So yes, if you've never watched, I guarantee you'll be able to enjoy it. The series is going to be awesome. It's an elimination match as well. And that was a lot of fun. I will also do, like, since we're doing a lot of admin here, for B. Brad Bard, I'm going to be streaming now, my friend. So, you know, drop a follow if you're on Twitch or on YouTube. It's super, super appreciated. The thing that's going to help me keep doing this is if you just keep tuning in. The more numbers I can generate, the more awareness, the better. But I also will start to do some like polls and some things for the TriCast. Up until today, I think the vibe on the stream has been a bit more chill, a little bit more relaxed. I really enjoyed the TriCast with Initialize and Chimera, but also I think it's very different. So I'm intrigued to know how many of our viewers, how many of you guys who've tuned in like that, what quantity. It's all these things we're going to start figuring out, you know. I'm going to have some fun with. So Joshua Kai asked in on Twitch, am I a Counter-Strike caster? No, but I would like to be. My history with Counter-Strike goes all the way back to 1.6. I was involved in a couple of tournaments in South Africa where, at the time, SK Gaming's 1.6 team, with Spawn, Ruban, had these legendary names. They actually came out to compete in South Africa. So that was amazing and a lot of fun. I also recently have logged about 300 hours in Counter-Strike 2. I've been an avid watcher. I got to do content at EWC with a number of Counter-Strike pros, some of whom told me that they liked my work. I almost started crying. Like, it's crazy. And listen, SK Gaming and Fnatic are two of the European OGs. Like, they're both over 20 years old. SK Gaming, when they started as a Battlefield and a Quake clan, they played with somebody named Odie. Odie went and started Dignitas. Some of the people that played Quake with Thomas Muller, who's the CEO, the founder of SK, they literally live in my building. And in some of our owners meetings, they were like, hang on, I recognize your voice. Like, and I said, hey, do you know League of Legends? He said, yes. We got chatting. Turns out he used to compete in Quake against the founder of SK Gaming. Like, small world, right? 400 subs in a week. They have all been gifted. They have all been gifted by incredibly generous viewers, incredibly generous supporters, and I'm extremely grateful and extremely thankful. It makes me think there's a potential path forward this way. So we're gonna see what we can do. And I'm gonna just say thank you. Is it Tom? Maybe am I saying Thomas Muller? It's not Thomas Muller, is it? Hang on. CEO of SK Gaming. Alex Muller, not Thomas Muller. It's Alex Muller. I've definitely been seeing Thomas Muller's face in World Cup ads or things like that. It's Alex Muller. That's who I meant to say. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining by. I've got a question from Kaiser Gods. Would you rather fight a cage match with 1 tiger-sized goose or 10 goose-sized tigers? I think that is an easy tiger-sized goose. I believe the threat of a goose's teeth and goose's clawed webbed feet will be easier to deal with one-on-one than having 2 just murder cats. A duck-sized tiger is just a really big cat, right? That actually knows how to hunt and is terrifying and is scary. So definitely that option. I have a small baked good that I'm going to be having for lunch here. So for Dawes, thank you so much. Yes, I am currently doing very well. 2026 has been an incredibly good year for me. This is really good. Rathak, I love it, my friend. Rathak, I love the banter. I don't take anything personally. And I will get really serious when something does need to be addressed. Like, during the cast, there was a bit of jokes about a domestic dispute, right? Because I chose those words carefully. And there were a few people in chat that used a much stronger word. And I directly called that out. I'm like, hey, I don't like that word. Let's not do that. I give you the absolute carte blanche pass to call me a boomer, to make fun of me in any way. I prefer it. I think it's more... I've got a British banter way of doing things, you know? So, I'm pretty stoked. Also, if you guys like the camera quality, I'm pretty stoked. It took me a little while to get all set up, but yeah. From YouTube, I should do a collab with Thorin for Counter-Strike. I do want to do collabs, and I do want to spend time with other creators. But it's also really important to try and build a foundation that's just my own, you know? Ideally, I'm hoping that, like... So, I'll give you an idea, right? If we average... like 100 viewers a stream, and like at any point, you can pretty much times that by 60 to 80. And that's how many people tune in. So over the course of 4 or 5 hours, that's 8 to 10,000 people, or 6 to 10,000 people. I would like to try to build that they stick around for longer, right? And unfortunately, if I start doing that, if I do too many casts or shows with Alex and Sam, or too many things with Thorin or Richard Lewis or anybody else, I'm leaning on them as opposed to building something. So that's an important thing to consider. I don't see how calling you a boomer is fun. It's just sad facts. No, it's true. I'm down. I'm not sad about it. I own the fact that I'm boomer. I have absolutely no qualms, no problems with that whatsoever. And also for Pilamzik, Pilamzik. Thank you so much for cheering the bits.
AL 的他们的这个打法两局都被破解掉了，然后第一局的时候
Do you know I don't actually know what bits are?
但是 BLG 他们稳住了。第二局的时候，他们又想通过下路去打开一个突破口，但是在卢锡安有巨大优势的情况下，没有围绕这一条线能够取得一个经济领先。
Wow. Okay.
现在 AL 感觉还是来到了一个绝境边上了，就现在已经
Direct streamers receive 100 bits face value minus platform purpose. Wow, that's awesome.
是能开到团的，就明显
That is really cool. Thank you.
打起来就是 AL
Today I learned what a bit is.
少一个人。
From Gacha Shy, you found a treasure stream. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you tuned in. I'm really glad you're hanging out. I'm sure some of you probably have spoken to me on Instagram about this or not.
打团虽然劣势的时候，他也能够有
I'm pretty deep into the Horus Heresy, my Warhammer books at the moment. I'm working my way through. Oh, what am I reading at the moment? Prospero Burns. And I'm just going to read all of them in order. The goal is actually finish all 54. I'm skipping the short stories for now and just doing the main novels. I am loving the books. So the mission is, over these next 2 or 3 months, along with streaming, along with Locking the Hours Now, you're going to see on my social media a lot more clips from the streams, like hopefully good ones. I want to also then I want to start a little Warhammer book review series because I'm enjoying it so much. Like really enjoying it that much. So we're gonna try that, and then those of you who are into it will be great, and if not, then maybe I can inspire you to look into it because it's really fun. Okay, I like that. I like that. Somebody has drawn the Grim Reaper meme. Let's go. Okay, the one thing I do need to look at. Okay, while we have a second, let me actually look here. So. Okay, hello everyone, welcome. Schedule flicks are pinned in the channel. We are... okay, map break 15, match break. Stream A is going to be Astralis versus Pain. That starts at 2. That is exactly what I want to do. I'm going to go to pinned messages. Okay. And I'm going to do the co-stream there. Okay, great. Right, so what I'm going to do... we will get the Counter-Strike team set up once this is wrapped. And Quickshot audiobooks greatly appreciated. I'm a reader. I enjoy actually reading it. So I'm really enjoying I got myself a Kobo, or I received a Kobo as a Christmas gift. Basically like a Kindle. And I think I've already spent like 60 hours reading. I am indeed allowed to co-stream the IEM Major. So yes, we are going to try that. We're going to give it a bash. This is an international tournament, definitely not Syrian. It is the CS Major. It's one of the most important tournaments on the Counter-Strike calendar. It will run for another 2 weeks, which is awesome for me. I can turn dog cam off. And as long as you guys are willing to tune in and have some fun with me, then I'll keep doing it. So, okay, right. Let's do this. Turn the doggo cam off. We need to move mine, and we are getting set up now for game number 3. This could be the final game of the series. You probably know this by now already, but anyone's legend. If they lose this, are eliminated from playoffs. They are eliminated from MSI contention. In league terms, imagine if Worlds happened like 5 or 6 times a year. It's like that, okay? In league terms, because league terms are not good enough to cover it. It is better to consider it like tennis. Think of it as like an open or golf. I don't know what the golf championships are called. But that's a much better consideration. You know, multiple teams, some of the best in the world, they come together to compete. And that's definitely the way to go. I agree. The major does only happen twice a year. However, I think in terms of trying to understand what a major is and when you look at some of the Star Ladder Tier 1 events, the ecosystem just doesn't fit into League of Legends, right? The tennis or the golf example, I think, makes more sense.
都行。
Okay. We are into picks and bans for game number 3. This time around, BLG are on the blue side. Anyone's Legend remain on the red side. Jarvan has been allowed through. The winner of this game will go on to face Team WE next Saturday. My instinct is BLG will not lose a second time to Team WE. I think the way that BLG are looking right now, not only are they favored in this game, they are also going to be favored, I think, next weekend.
感觉希尔进都可以。
进的话，我觉得有一点容易被巴德惊到，是不是希尔再好一点？对。
Israel as well as Bard locked in here for Anyone's Legend. Denying that from On, I think, is huge. A couple days ago, On's Bard was insane. He hit so many good tempered fates, which was huge. And with the Twisted Fates, combo this now playmaking-wise with Tempered Fate, the Destiny, the Gates. There's a lot of options and a lot of power here. Are we seriously going to see Aphelios? Let's take a look here really quickly. Last second swap. Okay. Let's take a look. Siva's going to be secured here now instead for Viper. I'm a Siva enjoyer, as I'm sure many of you know. One game played this year, it was a loss, but all time, I want to take a look here. 29 games played, 75% win ratio for Viper on that Siva. The Doggo Cam has returned. And now we can start to get ourselves very, very comfy. I still think, as far as preferences and biases are concerned here, Anyone's Legends are still such big underdogs that I just think the odds are too far against them. The drafts that they could have had tools to deal with BLG were outplayed. Bin is just such a monster. It doesn't matter what he's played, he's destroyed on. And if you are still, if you have just tuned in, you'll notice in the top right, Mecha Fanboy has gifted 50 subs to the followers of the channel. Thank you so much again. That will keep running. That will keep running as the smallest way of saying thank you. Am I going to stream a Worlds, if ever, coming from Random Gaming Stuff on YouTube? I would like to, but I think the odds are very, very low. I think that when you look at like co-streaming, right? Co-streamers need to apply for permission and approval so that their channels can be whitelisted. They're allowed to join. And for international events, there's a big competition, right? And there's also a lot of English coverage. I just don't think it's worth it for them to add me when the English co-streaming space is very well covered. With Vayne, Victor, Xin Zhao, and Akali removed from the pools, Renekton is going to raise here in priority. We're looking for jungle pool here for Tarzan. What direction does he want to go? Pantheon's been played. Skarner is still available and was hovered there for a second. I would anticipate that to be an option. If you do bot... Ooh, Nocturne Enjoyer as well. And it has been open the whole time. So there's a number of choices here. And I think as well, keep in mind, if the Rek'Sai does get locked in, that could be top lane Rek'Sai, right? And there's a pretty big chance here that it's going to be. I can actually see for Flandre, he has several Rek'Sais in his history. 23 games of Rek'Sai, okay? And that Rek'Sai Nidalee, we've seen it both. We've seen Rek'Sai tops and we've seen Nidalee tops. So not 100% sure which direction that is going to go. Shout out, thank you so much to Crazy Perceiver, resubscribing with your Amazon Prime. It's going to take a little while, Crazy Perceiver, for you to actually see your name pop up on stream. Because we're running through a few more of those. Exactly. It's definitely going to be Rek'Sai top here for Flandre. It's a bit of a niche pick for him, one that he likes to play. And I do actually like the idea of the Talia. It would have allowed some counterplay into the Twisted Fate, but a last second pivot, we're going for the Mel. So draft-wise, what do we think? Tarzan, my friend, you've really got to do a good job here on this Nidalee. I also need to remember the Rek'Sai spells. Put those side by side. I got my ass handed to be my Mel recently. And I think in terms of like this particular composition, when you start looking at the rebuttal, huge tool into the gold card, right? So I think that's really powerful. First time chatter from Call Me Fish. Yeah, we've got Doggo Cam on. She's chatting with us. You can see that she's in a pretty good mood at the moment. Let's just make this a little bit nicer for us to see. I'll keep it on. It's a little overexposed. I know it's a bit hard to see sometimes. But there is a very real chance that this game is going to be over in 3. I think Tarzan's Nidalee needs to pop off. I think somehow Shanks on Twisted Fate needs to find a way to get the gold cards to be able to land through the rebuttal for Mel, which is going to be hard. Add to group. No, that's not what I wanted. Cancel. Add split view. That's what I want. So, listen to the chants. How did that happen? Whoa. What did I miss? I 100% missed the first blood. I literally was looking at my second screen. What happened? Okay, well, incredibly important to call out. That I think for anyone's legend, they need to actually snowball. And somehow, Tarzan on the Nidalee's been able to secure that first blood, probably connected with a javelin toss. And look, it's not going to be like a game-changing thing, but it is a little bit of confidence that anyone's legend need looking forward. So literally just kill trying to ward. And for Shanks, he has to deal with this solar snare the entire time, right? The amount of poke that comes out of a Mel is going to be very frustrating to deal with. And the other thing that you need to look at as well, your rebuttal is going to bounce back. True Shot Barrage is going to be able to get rid of your gold card. What's the interaction with Tempered Fate? Can you rebuttal Tempered Fate? Okay. Shun gets back up from Knight as well as on. Shanks gets chunked down a little bit. And Viper has stayed in lane. On, forced to flash. Kale is stepping forward with the Brad slap and finds another. Hope picks up another kill. Upper, hey, stop. If you do that, the cone of shame comes on. Unfortunately, Doggo is still licking her wound. So, if she doesn't calm down and stop licking her wound, I need to put the cone of shame on her. We'll expand that. So my camera's been expanded a little bit now. So you can actually see Sleeping Doggo in the background of my main shot. But I think let's also let's keep an eye now on what Hope can do. In the previous game, with that massive advantage, he was able to get on the Lucian. I think compositionally was going to be in some trouble, right? Compositioning was always going to be hard to use Lucian against BLG. And then Jace just constantly smacked. Really nicely done from Knight again. Look at the rebuttal. Literally rooting Bod with his own ability. Okay? If you are asking about the camera, it's actually one from my sponsorship from last year. I'm still using the Razer Kio Pro Ultra. It's a 4K camera. And I'm not using the Razer software. I'm just letting Windows 11 run it. So configuring through Windows, and it's working really well. Yeah, Tony Terrier, Mecha Fanboy, joined the illustrious crew, similar to Judy and Pumari. Gifted a whole bunch on Twitch and is really, really appreciated. But if we look at our laning phase now, Knight up a wave. It is crashing in front of him, so he should be able to pull ahead. On steps forward with the Comet, places the W down. And Hope actually uses the Flash to put distance away, trying to get away from Viper. He was low on mana. Viper's up 16 CS in the bottom lane. And Bin is once again pushing, right? Renekton into Rek'Sai. Flandre's looking for the Unburrow. Waiting for the knockup, and it lands. Tarzan gets a pretty close range javelin toss. And with the pounce, the flash away from Bin, chase forward, one more auto, and it lands. Flandre survives as well. 3 kills for anyone's legend. I think really, really important for them. I mean, look, Tony Terrier, I think I've qualified for Partner Plus Tier 1 because gifted subs actually don't count towards the total. So I'm at Tier 1 for this first, but you need 3 consecutive months of 100. Shun is inside the pit. Will be able to steal the dragon away. That's BLG on the board, and Shun is still alive. Shun is still alive. He stayed alive so incredibly long. BLG get on the board. Knight gets 1, as well as Viper. And that gold lead is obliterated. Tarzan's looking for the Q. If it doesn't land, Viper and On can just run him down, flash over the wall. And the only way that I actually see anyone's legend being able to like pull this out, I think they need to find, they have to play away from the Mel. Use the TF, get a gold card, get a long javelin toss, and if you've got enough poke, it can work. But it's 6 minutes in, and Shun's already stole a dragon. So BLG started this, he secured, I should say he secured the dragon. Just kind of felt like anyone's legend had done enough to maybe secure it for themselves. Didn't manage to do so. And you can see the power of that Karma as well, right? The shield buying so much time for Shun. Maybe even trying to help out set up potentially another play. And honestly, it's actually a terrifying prospect. Like, Sivir can just perma push the wave. You got Karma wave clear as well. With Mel's counter abilities, but also the range and the damage on her spells, it's so hard to deal with. Your front line is kind of just going to be Rek'Sai. For Grathak, yeah, so last year, Razer had a really big push. It was moving up to their 25th anniversary, if I recall correctly. And they were doing a big promo for the Razer Blade. So because I was doing a lot of traveling, I got brought on board to do the Blade promotion. And unfortunately, because I was brought on board as a product promo individual, this year it was not renewed, disappointingly. So we'll see. We keep looking for deals. We keep looking for agencies to work with and things. And at the moment, we're just committing some time to content creation. Shun will drop the Cataclysm down. True Shot Barrage comes out, and Knight has bought enough time for Mel to arrive. That's a double kill secured. And Kel's going to be the next target. That is a triple secured for Knight. I mean, just beautifully done. Beautifully done. Does LPL use an AI filter on their graphics? I sincerely do not know, I'm afraid. We are streaming, like, if you're watching, right? We are streaming from the Huya platform, right? So directly from their feed. And I don't know enough about the production to be able to comment on it. But also keep in mind their art style, their champion art, things are very different there. And just like that, BLG are now 2,000 gold up. And I guess what you mean with a double kill, triple kill. I don't know if that's AI, if it's just, it's their art direction, and it is triggered by the API, you know, on the servers. I mean, Tarzan and Shanks make their way forward. Destiny's on cooldown. They were spotted coming through the wall, through the from mid lane. And just really, again, what are the options that you have? Oh, it's Dunzo, folks. 1,700 gold lead for Knight on Mel. Upscaled textures. Interesting. I mean, look, like if it's something like DLSS, that's interesting. But I'll look into it more because of the fact that I'll be doing more LPL throughout the year and looking back on it in summer. We'll look into the graphics and some of the production elements. 10 minutes has crossed. The river is well warded by BLG. And we've got a Chemtech Dragon about to spawn. So let's see where the pressure is going to be put in. Civ has already completed Stormraiser. That's what I mean. I don't think DLSS works with League, but I don't know what, like, maybe the LPL version or what software, what production elements they're running. And with the fact that the river is now being contested somewhat, BLG are coming with a significant power advantage. Like, anyone that just should not be fighting this. Mel, Shun, Viper, all completed first tiers as well. Destiny, Gold Card connects onto On. Mel's not there. Flag and Drag comes up. They've already picked up the first kill. But here comes Shun and here comes Viper. You're now fighting away. Viper was flashing to chase and simply didn't matter. Okay, great. You get one kill, but now you've lost two and you're going to lose the dragon. I just don't know. I just don't know. And then a reminder, we've got a small number of people watching on YouTube. Once this series is over, I'm going to take a look at the CS2 Major. So please feel free to swap over to Twitch. Okay? Mecha, I see it's the ... My Autobot decides to remove it. And I will say, actually really good here from Enem's Legend. Because BLG didn't prioritize or like rushing the dragon, it at least delays the soul. At least delays the soul. And I want to see how does Kale use his Tempered Fates? You know, will the Tempered Fate be able to catch Knight or Viper? Spell Shield is available. Rebuttal is available. Flag and Drag, Slice and Dice, like, it is difficult targets to hit. Shun's going to be able to find Shanks. Shanks flashes away and the root will just about be avoided. Shanks loses his flash, down 2,000 gold and 30 CS in the middle lane. Flandre's Rek'Sai on the top has come back to lane with their Titanic Hydra. Playing into Bin's Renekton and done relatively well. I don't know. I want to see. I haven't actually seen Rebuttal into Bardar. So I also want to watch it as closely as I can. I mean, Kel at 30 minutes is still level 5. Okay? Still has not even unlocked Tempered Fates. Here comes Knight. will be able to get enough damage down to literally just melt through. The Radiant Volley, our solar snare, and just like that, Kael's not there.
你这边太软了，控制，除非你卡牌黄牌过来。
对。
但刚才已经试过了，
是
黄牌给到卡尔玛的话，后续团战打不了。
And I saw in chat a little earlier, like, how do you stop Sivir?
去对一下鳄鱼，先放一下。
With the Boomerang Blade and the ricochets, there's no real target that's going to be able to stand toe to toe in the fight. Like Ezreal wants to dance around. There's burst damage, right? But as long as the spell shield can block the scariest ultimates, you know, block the bot ult, block the gold card. You've even got those get out of jail free buttons. And today, unfortunately, Tarzan just hasn't necessarily been able to transition the advantages early into something further. Bin and Shun slam dunk down onto Hope. And really easily picks that one up. Viper will flash, ghost away, and is dropped down. There's a flash engage, I should say. 1 for 1. As Kael at least gets one back. Now here comes Bin. That's the flash forward. Dominus thrown down. Demacian Standard is out, as well as the strike from Shun. 11 kills to 6. Even when you do get Sivir, it doesn't matter. And it's just like, when you look at game 2, game 2, the frustration was the comp, you know? The Nefiri did everything right to get Lucian ahead. But unfortunately, actually, let me take that back. Solo laners. Flandre and Shanks, they just got, like, smashed in lanes so badly that Ben and Knight were able to take over the game, you know? Rift Herald has spawned. True Shot Barrage almost able to pick up the crab in the top lane, top river. Tarzan figures he wants to take a shot here, okay? Kael, Tempered Fate is available. This might be the first of the game. Cosmic Binding goes through Rift Herald. The Binding will at least buy some time. Shun is locked into place. And Flandre arrives, and then that's really it. We're dancing and we're threatening. We're looking for poke. But anyone's legends just don't actually pull it off. But that was really nicely done. And that's the spell shield we're talking about, right? When you're in these smaller 2v2s and 3v3s, Sivir's just going to be so powerful. Gold card connected. Admittedly, it's a single cooldown, right? So you want to make sure that Mel and Sivir are also blocking the different abilities or figuring out which one's going to be more important for that rebuttal. I mean, even with Rift Herald, with the Void Grubs, there are so many. Oh my word. Tarzan's finished the Proto Belt first. We need to drop into Alex and Namir's chat. Tell them that Proto Belt's there. And while the chasing's going forward, right, here comes Flandre. Going to use that tunnel, looking to unburrow. Will be rooted in place and gets removed by the Mikaels. Shun's Flag and Drag doesn't do it, but the Cataclysm does. You're now locked inside the pit with all of Mel's missiles. And they get melted, as you'll say. Oh, I had so much fun rage baiting them. What do we say? Belts? What was it? Proto belting? Rage belting. Rage belting. Thank you. I had to remember it. I didn't even read it right. This is really disappointing. I don't like it when it's a 3-0 that plays out this way. Oh, man. At the very least, again, 2 dragons are secured, right? So that's important to do. Let's do this. AL will come back. I'm afraid you are very wrong, my friend. I do not think so. I do not see that being a possibility. That's what I want.
无需着急，慢慢发育就行。
No, Kendall's definitely not stealing our viewership, friends. That's not how that works. I mean, how's he? Is he doing LPL as well?
早来做一点事情哦，因为你其他人想开有点困难。
但是现在兵的单带也没有人能处理，他们抓边是有点打不过这个鳄鱼的。
抓边得3个人。
And for Tarzan, when you're trying to find targets, you've got a Renekton that again is 2,500 gold up, a Mel that's 2,500 gold up. You don't really have the most traditional front to backs, and you're going to be so reliant on a magical pick from Tempered Fate, a magical play from Shanks. The fact that Soul is still 2 dragons away is going to be a long time. Oh, Grindel Sparks, thank you so much. That's very kind words. I mean, look, I'm kind of intentionally trying to do something a little bit different. Not different, but like that fits my vibe. Grendel speaks, not sparks. Mr. Grendel, Mrs. Grendel. And like I really enjoyed the Tricast earlier, but also I thought it was very, very intense. So I prefer just kind of watching the games together and hanging in chat. If one day it gets big enough that I can't engage with chat, great, right? But we're using Destiny to try save Flandre in the top lane, and it's just not it. I mean, Team W in top esports beating BLG and JDG was massive upsets leading up to this. And Anyone's Legend looked okay earlier in the playoff bracket, but I wasn't as impressed with their best of series. A couple days ago, we saw them take down LGD, and they played well, they played good. LGD played like really bad. So it was just interesting. And the teleport has now been channeled. Okay, Knight will be forced to flash. Teleport has been channeled. Shanks flashes again. Javelin toss will be body blocked, and Shun can't do more. But Anyone's Legend get another kill. The Infernal Dragon is 2 minutes away. And it does look like there is some life here in Anyone's Legend. But look at how much they had to commit. 2 teleports, the flash engage, gold card as well. Shun was doing what he could to body block that javelin, the spear. This time, Knight was not too tanky. I will say, massive shutdown as well. Huge amount of gold secured, but they're still down 5,000. Viper, 1, 1, and 9. Nearly finished his 3rd item. Infinity Edge is completed. Trinity Force and Mirror Mana. It's not very hard to distract me. Really not hard to distract me. I feel like I need to read and reply to every message at the moment, which is a bit strange. Floof is doing well. You can see her in the background. Appa is laying down for the moment. She's sulking with me a little bit because she's trying to lick her wound, and I won't let her. But I don't want to bring the cone of shame out. This is just straight available. If you just go to huya.com. Or is it .com? Whatever the website is. Yeah, huya.com. Available to anybody. If you use Google Translate and you're comfortable giving Huya your telephone number, you can also just register so you get HD quality. And Shanks is going to be the target. Run down by Bin. Throws out that Ruthless Predator onto Flandre. Holds him in place for a moment. And the slice and dice was just enough to pick up the kill. The 14th of the game. Renekton is shanking AL's mid laner. He's 3-1, 3,000 gold up. I do not believe that AL are coming back in this game, my friends. Who was giving me the prediction earlier? I think you're a bit. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I mean, even Hope trying flash, barrier, arcane shift, nothing at all. T-Spark TV. If you're not following me on Instagram or TikTok, you should. Why did it do that? I don't understand. Why did it tell you off? What symbols are you spamming, Mecha? Because like on one hand, I want to give you like props because it's such a generous donation earlier. The S comments. That's so weird. But yeah, T-Spock TV, if you're not following me on Instagram, take a look at it. Because you're going to be featured in... You're named on a video that's coming out at 6 p.m., I think. I have to look at my Nightbot settings. If it's banning just ellipses. Tarzan will be the target. And here comes Bin. To the slice. The cleanse. Tarzan buys time. Dominus has been dropped. And Knight brings it out. Cataclysm will force flashes and arcane shifts away. And Hope is trying to find the targets. Flandre is throwing out those Prey Seekers, and it literally doesn't mean anything. I mean, my biggest thing is, it's going to be on Instagram, and it's going to be on my TikTok. I'm not putting too many of my clips on Twitter. I just don't like the platform. But my Instagram, I've got like 20 people on my TikTok. I'm just going to start spending clips to it. It's going to be a clips channel. But thank you. I appreciate the BDD. BDD enjoyer. I mean, when I was looking at some of the streamers, I personally think you engaging with the audience, like putting on a show that's worth watching, but like things like that, it means a lot, you know. And I'm quite stoked. Like I started doing YouTube this week for the first time. We've got nearly 100 people on YouTube. We've got nearly 100 people here on Twitch. If you're not following, please do drop a follow. It's really, really important and really helpful. And we're going to give this a few months, you know. We're going to watch Counter-Strike after this. Let's just make sure everybody's up to date. And for anyone's legend, what on earth do they do to come back? Flashes. Oh, damn it. I just threw crumbs everywhere. Flashes are available for Shanks in a moment or two. And the only really positive play that we've seen from them was once we did watch the Tempered Fate into the Destiny. Tempered Fate appeared to be spell shielded? Is that what that was? Just gone. AL just doesn't really have the front line to deal with the damage that BLG already have. They also don't have the map control. Baron is going to be easily available. There's so much damage on the side of BLG. They've also got 2 dragons to play with. Oh my words. No, Grendel, this is going to hopefully be a full-time thing. The real dream is to be able to build enough of a community and a viewer base that I can be a streamer and co-streamer the whole forever. The way I would like to do it is by building a community of people who want to watch different esports titles, right? Because I'm not the greatest gamer, but I really, really enjoy watching tournaments. And look, with the Baron bait, anyone's legend get pulled forward. Knight secures the first of the fight. Shun is looking for another target as Hope stays alive long enough for the Boomerang Blade to find him. The flag, the drag, and Shun holds on. Not going to be able to continue the chase. Bin will at least go forward and slices in, dices out. And my whole thing is, like, I watch so many esports titles that I have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of games. And I just like watching tournaments. So if I could do League of Legends and Counter-Strike, holy moly. I didn't read Berserk. I haven't read Berserk since I was a child. So when I was much, much, much younger. But look at this! Dominus from Bin! 4-1 and 2. He's still alive for just a few seconds longer. Finally gets taken down. And extremely, extremely well played here from BLG throughout the course of the game. There's just... The comps have not played out in favor of anyone's legend. They needed to have such fine margins to be able to do well. And then the solo laners have frankly just been outclassed, right? It really has just been a solo lane, you know, control. Yeah, Bin and Knight have been impossible to deal with. This play, literally dealing 1 versus 3, still gets interrupted and knocked up. Finds the damage. with Cole the Meek.
啊，兵后面还想杀，这又回头了。
10,000 gold lead. Dragon number 3 is coming up. And we're about to crest 2 p.m. So for everybody that is on YouTube, I mentioned it earlier, I'll just say one more time. I unfortunately will need to stop my YouTube stream once this series is over, because I can't put Counter-Strike on YouTube. So if you are interested in hanging out, if you are enjoying the conversation and you want to watch the Cologne Major, please come join me on Twitch. It's the same handle, @QuickShotOfficial. Right, now, Kale's trying to get some slaps back, but it simply is not enough. And with Baron-empowered minions, with the 3rd Dragon, we even have lag on the stream. We missed the Lila engage. And anyone's legend are falling all the way back to the base. 2 members are dead. The 3rd secured. Rapid fire cannon's not really going to matter here, Shanks. Shun's going forward. BLG are looking to qualify for the lower bracket final. The Nexus is destroyed. A rematch with Team WE is on the cards for next Saturday. And BLG will eliminate anyone's legend. They are out from playoffs. They are out from MSI contention. BLG are still alive for the Golden Road. The cheers, the chants. That's it. It's done. BLG are the winners. Okay. That was awesome. I really enjoyed the TriCast earlier. I mentioned it a little bit, but let me get myself set up very quickly. Need to go to the loo, let the dog out, and then we are going to do some Counter-Strike. So 1 minute ad break. YouTube, once I'm back from that, please come over to Twitch. It will be super valuable and useful. And then let's see what happens on Counter-Strike.
在没有线权情况下，几波小争夺的那个资源团其实很难受的。
是的。恭喜标记拿下胜利。
Make sure to approve any requests. Start current stream. SOT help us play the stream. Okay, give me a few seconds. I'm actually going to try get this set up while we do this. This is also the first time that I'm doing this. So let's turn Chrome off for now. And let's go. Okay, so download, click here. I need to install an app. I then need to get my clean feed up and running, and then we get to go. Okay, so in theory, that should be working. And in theory, we are live. I need to do a few small things here. Properties, pixels has to be. My camera is allowed to be in a very specific spot at a very specific amount of pixels, but we are currently watching the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne Major. Right, let me fix this. IEM Cologne Major. Stralis versus Pain. Elimination series between. Right, close that. I'm just busy updating all of my. This is mature. Yes. So Extreme, League of Legends. No. Do hashtags even matter on Twitch? IEM Cologne 2026. Done. Okay. So, yes, Hooksy is playing Phantasy Star. That is correct. Right, team. I really need to go to the bathroom. As soon as I come back, we'll do some more introductions and conversations. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to watch the Counter-Strike Major, please come join me.